Hello and welcome back to another episode of Xbox Infinite, episode number 58. I just pressed the wrong damn button. It's going to be a pretty awesome show. We actually got some news this week. We got a fair bit of news this week. I've heard some podcasts saying there's not much going on. Man, there's a shitload going on out there in the world of gaming. PlayStations are melting. They're getting recalled, 30 million recalled. It's just unbelievable. No, only kidding. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we get started, I want to welcome Mr. Bushido M7 back to the podcast. How you doing, man? How's your week been? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Good. Repaying for the stealth ban to be released, relinquished. That was pretty hefty, man. I didn't think that was fair, but I've been playing Octopath Traveler. And nothing but Octopath Traveler because I'm addicted to it all of a sudden, and I can't wait to finish it before Dead Space remake comes out.
Mm-hmm. You played a bit of Fortnite as well, right? I hear.
Yes, just a tad with you.
Yeah,
that's right. It was with you. That's right.
Yeah. I dunked on that game.
He just wanted you to reference.
Yeah, he wanted me to, right.
Yeah.
DoomCutie, welcome back to the show. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
I have been super busy. I've been visiting lots of our lovely friends out in the gaming community on their podcast. Shout out to KY Bob, You've Newcomb, Ultimate Escaping, Fabio, Pongsol, PTK, Fuzzy Belvedere. I've been hanging out with them. I was also on Boxing Burgers. So feel free to check those guys out. They are awesome. They talk about games, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of you know them already. I've been jamming Fortnite. I've been jamming Forza. Haven't tried anything new this week. I still haven't finished God of War, but I'm hopefully finishing that next week.
Absolutely. I have been trying something new, and it's up on the screen here, Returnal, but we'll talk about that in a minute. JediKnightPete, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing? What have you been up to? How's your week been? What have you been playing?
Yeah, good, mate. Looking forward to the show. Unfortunately, couldn't make it yesterday. Been playing a lot of Fortnite, and pretty much only Fortnite. Been having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it's begrudgingly a very good game.
Someone clip that. Clip that.
I have fun. I have fun with the game. What can I say? Infinite Umbra, welcome back to another week of Xbox Infinite. You name thief. How you doing? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Yes, I mean, if you all didn't know, he was referencing the show being named after me. It is an honor to have you all be a part of my show. Yes, I'm doing well. It is good to be here. We have been delayed today, but it is nice for us to jump in. I have been playing a bunch of things right now. Persona 5, Diablo 2. I noticed I said it right, Risk.
Mm-hmm.
Diablo.
Oh my god!
And
yeah.
Wow, you really weren't saying that. No, you weren't.
Mm-hmm.
He was very particular.
Yeah,
he was.
No, I'm saying you were saying it wrong.
Oh no, I said it right. It was the.
No, I'm saying you have been.
No, it was no. No, it was Nick.
I was good.
Special Nick was out there calling it Diablo, and I'm like, don't be representing Australians with that.
Yeah, Risk is particular about that. But yeah, that and I forgot something else that I've been playing, but I've been playing a bunch of things. And we played some Among Us the other day.
The detective.
A group of other people.
Yeah,
I'm the detective.
Yeah.
Detective Umbra on the case. You know how it is.
But that was fun, bro. That was fun.
It was. Yeah, it was. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm just excited about everything we're about to talk about and ready to talk to these people.
Absolutely.
Folks in the chat.
About these people.
Absolutely.
Well, you're specifically talking about you.
Right.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Look, I have actually been playing Returnal because it's on PS Plus, and I thought I've dunked on this game as well quite a bit. Just only because it sold 500,000 copies. But look, this is actually a pretty good game. I'm really enjoying it. I know it must be having a roguelite thing at the moment. I've been playing Dead Cells, this and a whole bunch of other roguelites. It's weird, but I'm kind of really enjoying this game. So when you like a game when you're thinking about it while you're doing other stuff, you're at work and you're like, man, I can't wait to get home and play that game and get past that bit. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. Pretty good game.
Are you telling us that you've been ponying it up? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. It sounds like.
Well, Xbox got no games, and when they do, I'll come back. Oh. Look, before we do get into the topics of the week, this technically isn't a topic. It was a topic of last week, and it caused one hell of a stir, especially in my thread. Oh, that sounds like my little fella. Apologies. He seems upset.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. It caused one hell of a stir in my thread. The liquid metal debacle. So I just wanted to clear up some things. Yes, they are recalling 30 million PS5s. Yes, it is widespread problem. No, that's all not true. No, so we never said on Xbox Infinite that it was a widespread problem. We didn't say that they were recalling PS5s. We were just pointing out that it was news of the week. We did report on it. It is something that needed to be reported on. If it is an issue, only an issue in, say, 100,000 PS5s, that's 100,000 PS5s that maybe if someone caught that on Twitter or they caught that on the show, that we probably could have, we might have saved their PS5 or it might have saved them some money. And I think that that's a worthy thing to report on. And I always will. I don't care if it's an Xbox that's got problems or if it's a PlayStation 5. I don't think it's widespread. I don't think it's a major issue. And I do think that KY basically spat facts on what was going on with the PS5. So we'll move on from that, and we'll just kind of wait and see what happens with it. If it's widespread, it's widespread. These things happen with tech. Sometimes they fail, much like the PlayStation fail station. What? Anyway, moving on to the topic of the week is finally the Xbox Developer Direct has been announced officially for January the 25th. Now, if you know me or been following me, I've been saying, look, it wasn't a massive deal that Xbox didn't really turn up at the Game Awards. I didn't think it was that big of a deal personally. It was a misstep. They should have been there, but they weren't. But hey, they're giving us this, and if the outcry has given us this, then that's absolutely fine. I personally think it is. I personally think they just saw the outcry from the Xbox fans and they were like, shit, we better do something. And this is what they're doing. So it's good to see. They'll be showing Elder Scrolls Online. Apparently they've got a biggest, they're talking about a new major update, the biggest this year. I'm like, well, we're in January, so that's not really a massive call. They've got Forza Motorsport. The team at Turn 10 will be bringing us some more details on that, which a lot of people have been asking for. Minecraft Legends, no one cares, except for maybe Pete. Pete doesn't mind, and DoomCutie doesn't mind Minecraft Legends, but they're the only two people on the planet that do. And Redfall, I think that this is the one that I think everyone's been waiting for. There's still people out there calling this a Back for Blood clone. If you're doing that, I don't think you've been paying attention. Pretty early in mid last year, they were talking about, the developers came out and said, no, it's more of a Borderlands style game, which to me is awesome. The game looks amazing. Apparently, id Software jumped in there and helped them out with their with the gunplay. So that's always great to hear as well. I think this game is going to absolutely hit hard. People are talking that it's going to be in the top 80s. I think it will probably hit there. I'm just excited to see something from Xbox. And I think with this Developer Direct, it's fairly obvious that we're going to get release dates. Hopefully they're solid. I don't care about Minecraft Legends, but every other game, or Elder Scrolls Online, but every other game needs a release date. And I would like to see one more thing, but we'll get into that one more thing later on. Cutie, I know that you are probably pretty excited to see more on Forza Motorsport for the Developer Direct.
Oh, yes, I am. This is long awaited in the series, and I'm not the only one who's very, very excited about this. But I will say, I did put up a poll on Twitter, and I asked, it's still going actually, if you still want to vote, if you haven't done so yet. And basically just asking what were people most excited for. And 60 out of, nearly 4,000 votes, 63% said Redfall. So I feel like you're correct, Riskit, in saying that people are going to be absolutely frothing after they see some more gameplay from Redfall. And the Arcane Studios, they release more information, and it looks incredible. it doesn't look like anything like any of the other games it's been compared to. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for Redfall. I actually am more excited for Redfall than I am for Starfield, and we'll talk about Starfield in a minute. But JediKnightPete, what piques your interest in this developer direct, or do you think it's a little bit light? You would have liked more games there, or do you think they'll have something crazy to drop? One more thing?
I don't think it's light because I think that they want to go this way going forward, and I think it's a really, really good way of doing things. So we're always trying out for more information, more Xbox to show more things, and you get the two big events of the year. You get E3 and then the Game Awards, and it's just not enough. It's not enough to keep podcasts, like us going. We're constantly speculating, and that's just going to put a stop to all of that, and show the games that Microsoft wants to show. And there's so much coming out, whether that be first party or Game Pass games. In terms of, do I think this is going to be a great show? Probably not, but I think they're going to need to show what they need to show. I do like Minecraft Dungeons, is it? And I'm looking forward to Minecraft Legends. It's not really my type of game, but it's going to be on Game Pass, so I'm going to give it a go. Redfall sold me on its last showing, and everything I hear about that game just wants me. I just want hands-on now. I really don't need to see any more. A mixture of what did they say, Stalker and Far Cry 2, and what you said before when they were comparing it to Borderlands. That's my type of game. Open world co-op. I get to play it with my friends. Drop in, drop out. Yeah, that's my type of game. I'm not particularly excited about Forza Motorsport, but I really want to see the graphical prowess of the Series X, and this is going to be its showcase piece. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing that side of things. So I look, all in all, they're going to do what it needs to do, but am I going to be blown away by it? No, I don't think so. Do I need to be blown away by it? No, I don't think so.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did Pete just kind of like hit some slang on us, Bushido? He said they're going to make it do what it do.
I think so.
That's what I thought I heard. I'm like, look at my man.
Yeah.
You're rubbing off on me, bro. God help me.
Is that because you were doing pretty terrible Aussie accents on the Gamers Initiative part? We gonna do what?
Oh, you heard that? Hey, listen, I was spectacular. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was terrible.
I thought so too. I thought it was pretty spot on, if you ask me. But
Thank you.
Don't encourage.
I only play with Aussie, so
Don't encourage.
Yeah, we are experts in the Aussie accents now. Matter of fact, I'll answer your question here in the Aussie accent. I'll let the people decide.
I'll have to mute you again.
Wow.
I'll mute you again.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Bushido, I'm going to go to you first, so Umbra can prepare his terrible accent. Look, what are you most excited about for Developer Direct? Do you think it's going to be one of those shows that is, super exciting? You think it's going to be a bit of a letdown? Are they going to have one more thing?
I'm not looking forward to anything new. That way, if something new comes out, I'll feel great about it instead of being disappointed like I was with the Game Awards. Since I heard so many things, and I never listen to rumors, but oh no, this time. I was believing it, and so I'm not doing that again. I'm like Pete. You don't need to show me nothing else about Redfall. Zero, zip, nothing, not down to nothing. But I would like to see, even though these are games that if they weren't in Game Pass, I'd still buy them. Games like Atomic Heart, I don't need to see anything else. But guess what? I will take seeing something else.
Yeah, I'd like to see some more of that as well.
Yeah, I would like to see more of that too. I would like to see a little bit more of Flintlock. Flintlock looks really good. And for some reason, I look at it like one of those games like, this game can't fail. It just looks exactly like what I'm seeing. Like, it plays like this. It looks like this is going to be a good game. So unless the story is crap, I think it's going to be a really good game. If I was to see something outside of everything else we've seen, I don't need to see Stalker 2 either. I would like to see Little Devil Inside and maybe a little bit more of the Curious Case of Benjamin Cumberbatch. And that's about it.
Yeah, I love that game. I love the name of that game. Yeah, look, I kind of agree there. I don't need to see anything else with Redfall, but what I do need is a release date. Umbra, do you think we're going to get some release dates at this show?
That's what I'm hoping for, Risk. I mean, that's the thing I think most of us are hoping for. They have to give us that. I think it'll be an ill if they don't. I mean, and I think they know that you wouldn't have this show otherwise, because you're showing us stuff we've seen already. Excuse me. Thank you, Gray, for pointing that out. Saying things here that we've already seen and not giving us, actual launch dates would just not benefit us, mate. You understand what I'm saying, Risk?
He's muted.
Risk.
That's true.
You
know what?
I pray that you didn't try. I pray that you didn't try to mute me, Risk. You didn't.
I swear that was Riskit. I swear that was Riskit spot on. If you ask me, I thought that was Riskit.
See?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, people in the chat, give me my love, right? Give me my love. Because Riskit, he's hating.
Tomatoes.
I think he's jealous.
That's
I think
exactly
so,
what I just put in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sounding more Aussie than he did. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, get him back. See? Thank you, Tom. Tom understands. Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously, I hope that is the case, and I think that will be the case at this point. I see the two haters throwing tomatoes. Bushido, how do you follow them? You just have to give me credit. You just gave me credit.
It's got to be done.
Anyway.
Got to be done.
Anyway, no, but seriously, I am hoping for that to be the case. It seems like it will be the case, and if they don't, hey, we got to give them the loss that they deserve. That would be an L right there if they don't do that. But I will say, for this show, I am most interested and hyped for Redfall for sure. I do want to see more of that. Second would be Forbidden. Look at this. I've got all types of PlayStation things in mind because of this damn game you got on screen.
Your pony showing.
I know. I know, right? Take these damn hooves off. Yeah, no, for Forza, that's the second most for me right there, Punty, you too? You turned on me too? What is this?
I think it's really going to just take that next step, like what Pete said. It's really going to test people's consoles and really show what the Xbox can really do this generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the first. These are the first games that are this gen only, right? So this is a big step, forward. Really, it's the final step forward, I think.
6 years in development this game's been. Turn 10 never take that long in a game, so I'm really
well, they had to build it from the ground up. So.
Well, that means that we're definitely going to get the definitive, I think, experience that we're going to get. Well, obviously, the next one will probably be the more definitive experience. I think, these consoles are still early in their life cycle, so we haven't seen what they can do. But I think we're about to see what a game that's this gen only can do. So I'm pretty excited just basically for that. I know Grey Monad in the chat says pretty excited for Forza. I'll check it out. It is a sim racer, not really my thing, but it definitely
anyway. It's okay.
Yeah, it definitely is the definitive sim racer in my mind.
Racer. Absolutely.
Is it going to be in UE5?
What was that, Bushido?
Is it going to be in UE5?
No, it's the Forza Tech engine.
No. This is the Forza engine.
Redfall is, if that's what you meant.
Okay.
Yeah. Redfall's in UE5, and it does look beautiful. But look, another game that we're hoping looks beautiful. It's not in the UE5 engine that Umbra wished was in the UE5. Like pretty much every game from
like
the sound.
I segued into that. I knew you were going to move to it when I said it.
Starfield also got a bit of an announcement. They're not obviously appearing at this developer direct. Bethesda put out a post almost immediately after the developer direct was announced, saying to dedicate the proper amount of time for a deep dive into Bethesda Game Studios' Starfield. A standalone show is in the works. This changes many things. That means that there's going to be many knees on the table. Hopefully polished, shiny, and without hair. So I think earlier in the year, we've been talking about Starfield quite a bit. And I did say, I believe I said it live, is that the only way that they can get away with, I've maintained that they will be launching Starfield in the first half of the year. I've always maintained that. I don't think it looks good for them to delay the game again. The only way they could have done it in the back end of the year, back half of the year, is after E3, build that hype, and then release it no more than a month after E3. I thought that was probably a possibility. Didn't think it was likely, but I thought it was a possibility. After this show has been announced, I really think that this changes things. I think with this show, we're going to get a release date for Starfield, and I think it's going to be in the front end of the year. Now, Pete and Umbra, they kind of were in the camp of this is going to get delayed again. So if it doesn't, I'm going to be getting a lovely pair of knees on the desk. Umbra, I just wanted to know, has your opinion changed? Are you going to try to save those knees? Are you going to bring up Skull and Bones? What's happening next?
Oh, I'll wait for the Skull and Bones. Yeah. If you all don't know about Skull and Bones, since he mentioned it, Riskit owes some knees on that, as I had been correct several times on the delays of Skull and Bones. It's been delayed twice since I said it would be delayed, by the way. So it's 6 times for that. But we'll get to that later on. As far as this goes, just to clarify for everybody, right? And we had this talk the last show. You may have heard it when you were here. Me and Pete are of the belief that it's not necessarily a delay until the second half, although I have a sneaking suspicion it could be. But we believe that it will be in the later part of June at the very least. So somewhere in the 16th, somewhere in the 20th area, in that area, 22nd, whatever it could be. That's what we believe. And the bet is technically that would be mid-year. That wouldn't be the first half.
Can I ask you something real quick? What is a second half? Isn't that the next going over June? Wouldn't that be it? How is there more than one half?
Regardless of however you want to look on first or second half of the year, I think the bet goes is if it doesn't release before the 12-year period, starting from when the showcase was on in 2022, which I think was the 6th of June. It's either the 6th or the 12th. So if it's before that, then me and Umbra are right, and if it's after that, Riskit.
I just want to point out that Pete just said 12 years, so I've got 12 years for this bet to come through.
Write that down.
Yes, you know what I mean.
So wait, so if it's June the 17th,
12 years, we'll be rubbing his hand on you.
That still means me and Umbra win. Yeah, because look, I mean, otherwise you can't give Riskit any leeway because he's a very stubborn man.
Yeah,
so
you can't give it. You can't give it to him.
She telling me like I don't know.
Well,
No, I would have told Riskit if it's July, you win. I wouldn't give him no leeway. You guys get better than me. I'd be like, no, if it's July, you win. I'm taking a whole month of June just in case.
look,
And
look,
and just to say,
I'm
I
being
see a
fair.
few people that pointed out. Just to say, I see a few people like Hargeet. I see Mark that pointed out. And they're correct technically. It is January through June, and July and December through December is second half. Technically, however, the statement was the first half. I consider mid or late June to be mid-year. I don't consider that to be the first half. And I mean, the only way you can look at it is first and second half is if you look at their financials and how they do their quarterlies. We're talking about as far as literally mid of the year. That is a mid-year release. That's not a first half release. That's not a first half release right there, technically. That's
So,
the thing we're talking
chat,
about.
I just want to point out, how hard are these guys like trying to save their knees right now? Like getting technical. Like
Mine
if
is
it's
very simple.
if
If it's 12 months, if it's after 12 months after the showcase, then I'm right.
Yeah,
at 12
I
p.m.
think that's fair.
12 p.m. 15, 12:15 on the June the 13th. If it's a minute past, we win.
That's right. If it's a minute past, that's your ass. Yeah, that's right. And Peter's, I mean, he got it right pretty much. I mean, if it comes out after the E3, I think it's fair to say that it's not 12 months. That's past 12 months.
Yeah.
Is that not fair? Is that not fair to say, folks in the chat who are trying to save Riskit's hairy knees?
Now,
Huh?
I just want to point this out while I've got this on screen as well. Mark of Legendary Drops brought this to my attention. In the official release gameplay trailer, they put a date on screen. and its solar date, May 7th. It's on screen right now for you guys. May 7th.
Mark didn't think that up. Somebody pointed that out to him too.
2030. 2330. But obviously, that's very interesting that it's 2330, right? I think that Mark might be onto something. It is very extremely tinfoil hattish, but it's very interesting. And as he did say to me earlier today, that Todd loves this sort of stuff, sneaking things out there where people don't notice it, and then dropping it right then. So I think we are looking at a May release. And I don't think Redfall's going to be pushed back to May. I think if it's not earlier, I think Redfall's going to get the treatment.
You say you don't. Time out. You say you don't think that Redfall is being pushed to May?
No, I think that Redfall will get pushed further. To be honest.
Oh wow. Okay, this is new right here. I didn't hear you say this before.
Yeah,
Me either.
I don't think
Later than May Risk.
I think it's pretty hard to drop Starfield. I don't think Starfield's ready to drop yet. I don't think you want to cannibalize each other. Starfield's a bit of a massive game. Yeah, I'm kind of torn, but I think if Redfall doesn't drop a lot earlier than May, it drops after E3.
So you say they'll push back Redfall to make sure Starfield has its time in the sun.
I think it's not the time in the sun. I think you put Starfield up against any game, and it's gonna crush it.
Yeah, so this is my main point. In the first place. So if Redfall hit its date in March, I think Starfield probably would have released in, May, June, something around then. But because they got that 6-week delay and it got pushed back till May, I don't think Starfield's ready. Otherwise, we would have seen it. We would have had marketing for it. Its first IP, as the IP in 25 years. So, it deserves marketing. Microsoft have given it its own event. So when is there time for I don't think it's possible to release before May. And so after that June, then you're looking into the showcase times and looking at second half of the year. So that was my reasoning in the first place.
Yeah. Look, I again, it's optics wise. I think if you drop Starfield, everyone's extremely happy, right? No one's complaining. Yeah. And then you turn around and say, look, we're not releasing Redfall until blah, 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 whenever. I don't think anyone cares at that point.
It'll be less of a deal. I would agree. More people wouldn't be as upset. But just to address what Tom had pointed out, he said that you highlighted Risk. Yeah, my thinking is, Tom, that they'll have this showcase for Starfield. Maybe that's in May. The whole fabled 3/3/23 could be the showcase, right? And they say, hey, we'll have more about Starfield soon at E3. And then at E3, they'll get that last major marketing push and say the game will be out, June, whatever it is. And, and that's it. And then the game comes out. Or within that week. Or it'll be live this Tuesday or something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that, because I'm guessing the show will be on a Sunday. So, yeah, like live this Tuesday or the next week after. That's my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Adding to that as well, if the acquisition goes through before June, I think they're really going to want to ramp up marketing for Diablo 4 as well, because it's, the first big release of the new acquisition. So I think they're going to want it. And although I don't think they're competing, I spoke with Hagid about this yesterday, although they're like different demographics and they're not actually competing against each other, just the optics of Microsoft having, a big Blizzard game to showcase, to show off this $70 billion acquisition. I think that will have its time in the sun as well. So I think that rules June out of it as well. And see, this is the problem we always knew Microsoft was going to have when all these games start dropping and they start falling onto each other. And then, it's a problem that Microsoft is going to have going forward, seeing all these delays that all gone into 2023. And although it's going to be a fantastic year of gaming, I think Microsoft really, really need to tread carefully so every game gets its own, little bit of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow. I jumped off a cliff. I don't know where that came from, Mark. What in the world?
I think you guys are discounting one thing. Microsoft's terrible at advertising. They're just awful at it. Just that last thing they did for what is the game again? High on
That's
Life.
how bad it was.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant. I was like, why didn't you do this before the game came out?
No,
Why
we
didn't you
discussed this
advertise
last
this?
week, Cheeto.
Yeah, I
We talked
know.
about how some
Yeah,
smaller companies, they just don't have the money to in their PR budgets.
Microsoft does.
right. But
Microsoft
Microsoft does, right? Yeah, and I just felt like
I mean,
Microsoft. You did.
I don't
It
know the
it would
finer
behoove
details in regards to
Microsoft.
that. Like, not
It would
every
behoove
game on
Microsoft to
Game Pass
advertise
gets.
those.
Sorry.
Yeah, but not every game
ahead,
on
go
Game
ahead.
Pass, Cutie.
Sorry
I
about that.
I completely understand what you're saying there.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of games on there. Like, they can't afford to, have full marketing campaigns for every single one of them. So that's my argument in regards to the smaller games and they don't
I think it's
market
reasonable.
themselves
I
properly.
think it's reasonable, but I still think they don't do a good job advertising. Period. Even when
I
they do have big
disagree
games.
anyway.
Mhm.
I disagree anyway. Microsoft is never going to get a discount of, they don't have to put the money to that. Microsoft is a multiple trillion-dollar company. They can absolutely afford to do that, and they should be. And if they're going to be all in on gaming, then show us, put your money where your mouth is. And that goes for third party. They relied on third party for all of 2022, just about. Put that
Well,
money behind those games and say, hey, this is what's coming. Most of the third party games that's coming this year are worthy of superior and more marketing and hype.
Absolutely.
Look at Flintlock,
Absolutely.
like Bushido pointed out earlier. Flintlock is one of my top games
Atomic
to
Heart.
look forward to. Atomic
Yeah.
Heart, Stalker 2, all those deserve major pushes. They should not just be relegated to, well, you'll see them on Game Pass. No, hype those up. Say, hey, this is what it's going to be for. That's going to increase, I think, people to jump in and subscribe to Game Pass personally. I don't think it should just be like a thing that they just not say anything about. So hype up
No,
that
that's
service
fine.
as well as what you have coming for first party, in my opinion.
yeah,
You
look,
had a good point
Yeah,
though,
no,
Cutie.
I can. Yeah.
I agree with.
No,
You
I,
had
I
a good
agree.
point. It just seems like to me, in my opinion. I'm sorry, Risk. It just seems. I agree with you, too, with that, do me. But they just seem like they just don't do a good job with advertising at all. I'm just gonna say it just blatantly like that. They just do the bare minimum, it seems, and at the last minute, I just would like for them to do better. I just put it that way.
Mhm.
I think moving forward, if they did more developer direct showcases, I think that would be amazing. It's low cost in regards to, well, it's separate teams. It's the game's team only. They're filming their part. They put up their gameplay, all the information, and if they aim to do that, a couple of times a year, plus E3, plus the big showcase, I think that could potentially step up this marketing for them.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Look, I think that they should be pushing their third parties, but what I am interested to see is how they push their first parties. If they continue along the same vein and they don't push them like they haven't been with the third parties in Game Pass, yeah, I think you can definitively say their marketing is shit. But, I mean, if they start pushing the first parties hard and doing a good job of marketing those, I think then at that point you can kind of go, okay, they're not marketing their third parties. They're kind of leaving the third parties to market themselves, and they're doing a decent job with their stuff. PlayStation does kind of hype up their third parties. Look how much they've hyped up Hogwarts Legacy,
Yeah.
that terrible
Yes, they
Harry Potter game that no one should play.
Look at Stray. Look how they hyped up Stray. They hyped Stray up to be
Yep.
Yes, Stray.
included in a game of the
Yep.
year where it should not have been.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same
Microsoft
thing
needs to do that.
They did the same thing with Godfall. It
Yep.
got named
Oh,
as
sure you did.
a
Sure
competitor
did.
to
I
Halo.
forgot.
Just insanity because that game was nothing, but
Exactly.
the marketing made it look fantastic.
God awful.
did,
Yeah.
didn't
It
Yep.
did. Look, we've got some super chats that relate to this topic, so I'll just get to those real quickly. Mark from Legendary Drops, if you guys haven't headed over to that channel and checked that out, just type in Legendary Drops into YouTube and you will find Mark and Ian, and they have a fantastic podcast. They're absolutely hilarious. They are PC Master Race, so you can take the piss out of them. And sometimes the show doesn't work because they don't have the drivers. But other than that, it's a great show. He comes with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mark. So generous. He says, Microsoft was smart to list all the games that they were showing. Means I can skip it. Thank you, Microsoft.
Damn.
Mark from Legendary Drops,
Wow.
again with another generous $5. He says Starfield May, Redfall July, Forza November, and if the standalone show is in Feb or March, it's releasing in May. Yeah, look, I kind of I can kind of subscribe to that, and I don't.
Should move with that one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Hell no.
I think people might be a little bit pissed if Forza released in November, but I think that the vast majority would probably just get over it if they drop Starfield.
Yeah, I do agree on that part, and I think we still have Forza Horizon 5.
Mhm.
But that would absolutely break their promise of the first half of the year if that came out in November. That's one. Two, they have already internally we've heard from insiders like Jez and such, and I don't know. I know he doesn't like to be called that, but people like that who've already soft confirmed that May would be the release date for Redfall. I don't think that's going to be missing the first half. I don't think that's going to be going out in June or July, personally. And
Yeah,
I definitely don't think that they'll put Starfield headed up against Zelda, which releases May 12th, by the way. So I just don't see
don't
that.
think they would either.
I think they can. I think Starfield can compete with Zelda like pretty easily.
I do agree with you,
sure,
Risk.
right?
Yeah,
I agree with Risk on that one.
Yeah, whether they
Yes,
will or
do
not,
agree, because it's two different platforms. It's
okay,
PlayStation,
that's valid.
Xbox, and Switch guys. Even if you do have an Xbox and a Switch, people who are Switch buyers, listen, them cats are dedicated. So it does not matter what comes out on any other console, even if they have a PlayStation, a PC, they are still going to buy Zelda or Donkey Kong or whatever IP they haven't seen in a long time on Nintendo Switch. You don't have to worry about that. They're still going to get their money, and anyone else who plays on Xbox, they'll do the same thing.
Yeah, agreed.
I
Absolutely
do agree
agreed.
with that point. I still feel, though, that Microsoft would want, or at least Bethesda would want also, to have that game be in a month that's less crowded by major hitters.
I do agree with you, though. Yeah, I do agree with you, though. I was thinking Redfall in April or May, Starfield in late June, mid or late June, and then I always thought Forza was a winter game, so I always thought that was always dropped in October or November. I forgot what the usual release date is, but I usually remember it being in the fall, so that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think typically, because with Forza and Forza Horizon, they switch every other year, I think, to come out one in November or something like that, and one earlier in the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so 7 came out in October.
Yeah, okay, so 7 was in October. When was Forza Horizon 4?
That was I think that was, see, I can't say, because I always, like I said, in my head it still says November. I always remember it being a fall to winter game, so I don't know why.
That was October as well.
It was October as well, okay.
Yeah, and then Motorsport 6 came out in late September.
Look, I'm just going to jump into the next super chat real quick. Before I do, Pete, what the hell is that you've just posted in our private? Something wrong with you, dude.
Oh, my days.
Something wrong with you. Aaron, a very generous. I don't know what the currency is, Aaron, so you're probably going to have to tell me. But love Aaron. He's a great guy. He posted a 50 sec. I think that's what that is. He said, I believe you have to listen more to the younger ones, Bushido. That's true. We got to let the next generation speak more. That's true. Warm greetings from Swedenland. Swedenland? Switzerland.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Swedenland.
What's the next generation of people that we need to let speak?
Me. Talk about me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You.
I just want to address, Richard O in the chat. Yes, I do. You're right. I make up lots of stories and I lie. Thanks for coming to the show. I appreciate your engagement. Please continue typing in the chat. It helps us out greatly. Look, Starfield, I think there's no way. Every other game, they can absolutely release back end of the year if they have to. If they don't get Starfield out, that's where you're going to see everyone kick up online. Xbox gamers are going to kick up online. Obviously, you're going to have the PlayStation fanboys. He said it's around $10,000. Sorry. Obviously, you're going to have the PlayStation fanboys kick up, if they delay even like a minute past, the first half of the year for any other game. But I don't think Xbox gamers and the ones that will actually be playing the games will care if Starfield's dropped. So I think they've got leeway. That'll cushion any kind of blow that they have with Forza or Redfall. Even though I do think Redfall's ready, I just think it's a real hard, like Pete's saying, it's really hard to place these two games where they just don't hurt each other. I don't think Redfall's going to hurt Starfield, but I think Starfield could greatly hurt Redfall. So,
yes,
and it's a new IP. You want to give it its best chance, and then Starfield's a new IP. That's
both of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one, a very tough one.
I do agree with you that Starfield would hurt Redfall more than Redfall would hurt it. However, I think even if you look at and pay attention to the marketing and what we've seen so far with Redfall, it to me is pretty much ready. It's clear that that's going to release sooner than what we would know with Starfield, which we've seen nothing from since last year.
Last year it dropped to 21 frames at points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so good. Such a good experience. Very cinematic. Mark from Legendary drops another generous $10 super chat. He says, Umbra, you're trying to compare Zelda against Starfield. Microsoft has 25 million subs to give the game to. It doesn't matter what game comes out at the time.
That's blatantly untrue. That's blatantly untrue. Since he addressed me first, let me say that. That's blatantly untrue. It does matter. Not all 25 million are going to be, and it's actually more than 25 million at this point, by the way. Not all these 20 plus million people are going to be playing Starfield. That is not true. Yeah. You have Zelda with Mario and with other Nintendo games. They sell 30 plus million. So that's not comparable in any fashion. That does not matter at all about the subs. Not all of the people playing on Game Pass want to play Starfield. That's the first thing we need to clear up. A lot of people are actually more hyped, as Riskit said, for Redfall than they are for Starfield, by the way. So let's clear that up too. And they are comparable. When you have two major releases like that, they absolutely can counteract each other. And whether you believe it or not, historically, it has shown major releases try to avoid hitting at the same time. That's just the way it is.
Toxic.
Yeah, look, I completely. He went hard on Mark. I actually kind of understand what Mark's saying. There is a pre-installed install base, so it does give you a benefit if you're releasing any game on Game Pass. If you're a first party, if you're Microsoft, that's already like you're getting people playing that game. People who wouldn't normally play the game will play the game. That at least is 100% true. But it doesn't mean that they won't go and buy Zelda and jump on Zelda and play that first. And you want to have a big week to start off with. So I think both can be true. If I'm being diplomatic, as what's his name said, I'm probably just lying and making up stories. Anyway, so on to the next.
Yeah, just on that topic as well. Skyrim. Look, I get Elder Scrolls is different because it's not a brand new IP, but it sold 10 million copies. Within I think the first 6 months or something ridiculous like that. It was Steam's fastest selling game at the time in 2011. So this is Bethesda's next big thing, and although it's not it is a brand new IP, and it's not related to, say, the Elder Scrolls franchise or anything along those lines, it's still a brand new Bethesda game. So it will do incredibly well, and not just on console, typically more so on PC, where most Bethesda fans do game.
Yeah.
Yep. Because of the mods, specifically because of the mods. Those games are always heavily modded. And they always the community just really make that game a lot better.
Yeah, Mark's saying again that Redfall and Starfield are going to the same fan base. Yeah, no, they're not. It's not entirely true. There's not just you got to remember, Mark, and you should know better because you are a PC master race, that they release on Steam as well. So there is a base outside of Game Pass that should be playing this game and purchasing the game. Look, we'll move on to the next topic before Mark
just wrote Fallout 4 sold 12.5 million copies in its opening weekend. That's amazing.
And if they do an early,
by the way,
if they do a pre-release as well, there's a whole new thing as well. I think they sold Forza 5 sold I think it was 5 mil in that pre-release week. Yeah, so yes, they could pull that with Starfield, even though I think it's slightly predatory. I actually don't agree with Microsoft doing that. It pisses me off, but if they do it, it'll garner sales for sure. Sorry, Umbra.
No, good. Two things to add to that. That is true. It sold that, but that's encountering all the places it released at. Starfield will not be releasing on PlayStation this time around. So those numbers are not going to be as large, I would imagine. And its opening, it will be large, but not as large. That's one. And Mr. Inferno Games pointed out, he says that Horizon Forbidden West sold well, but the industry overlooked it too. See, you don't want that for Starfield. He's correct.
It didn't get bundled inside of that. the packs
It,
with
it
the
has.
console. So.
It has, but still, and it still was overlooked. Like, think about that. It was bundled and still got nothing. So I just want to point out that
True.
when you release those games, and that was released, and he's saying that because of Elden Ring. Elden Ring overshadowed that, and that's not to say Zelda will overshadow Starfield. That's not to say that, but it will affect it. Could affect it at least.
Yeah,
it was, but I'm just pointing out to say Zelda is a juggernaut. You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You don't want those games clashing against each other. It's just not good business.
I agree.
Risk, you had a question, by the way up. I don't know if you called it before you move on.
Did he type question in the chat? If you guys look, before I do move on, if you ask a question, please type question in your chat and it will highlight it to me, or you guys can throw it in super chat, up to you, whichever you do. I will get to it if you type question. If you don't, I won't, or I might. It depends on what's going on. But please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new here. We go live every Friday normally at 7 p.m. EST. And I will apologize as I didn't for yesterday. Unfortunately, my partner, she was extremely sick. She had an iron infusion. So now she's flying around the house with a weird red suit on shooting stuff.
Hope she's feeling better, brother.
Yeah, she is. Feel much better. Look, we'll move on to the next topic. Now, this is massive. It means that the world has come to an end. Forza is probably going to be like a 57 Metacritic from now on. Playground developers have left to form a new studio called Maverick Studios. I love the name of the studio as well. And there was a quote from one of the developers that left. I believe it's the director. Game director, he said, it is about being rebellious. It is about changing the way things are. Everything that we stood for while we've been in our previous places. I don't want to change the industry. I do want to change the industry, sorry. I want to change it for the better. It's about finding better leaders for the industry. It is about not tolerating practices that have been on in the past and inspiring those around us. People will come and go. If they come and do brilliant things with us and go into something bigger and better, they go on with our blessing and they go on with these better practices. And that's going to make for a better industry. So look, this is kind of strange the way that they've left and the timing that they've left. I don't think this is a massive deal. I think this is a set of extremely some of the best developers in the. You guys are putting way too many questions in the chat. Some of the best developers in the business. These guys are like top of their field. They've all banded together to make their own studio, to make the game that they want to make. Well, look, we know that Microsoft have been pretty cool with a lot of studios being able to make games that they want to make and giving them the freedom. But they are still a business, and I do think that Forza would still be a bit of a mandate for them, and that you would have some people within that business, within Playground, that would be, hey, you guys have to stay on Forza. That's what you do best. We need that title to be the best it can be. And at the end of the day, they might have been like, we want to kind of make our own thing and do our own thing without any kind of direction. We want to direct our own futures and make the games we want to make. And look, that doesn't, I'm not mad at that. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think this is a great thing. I think a new studio in the works. I think, what are they developing? A AAA open world action adventure game? I could be wrong. Could be an RPG. That's great.
That's right. That's great.
Yeah, that means we're getting another AAA game. Now, as Umbra said on another show earlier in the week, if they turn around and make that a PlayStation exclusive, I'm going to be pissed. That would piss me off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they did that, I'll be mad as hell. And it wouldn't be the first time it's happened, by the way. I know all of us remember what Cliffy B did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if they did that and all of a sudden, PlayStation exclusive. Well, you all can just F off. I'm not going to curse.
I still love Cliffy B though. I mean, I get
it. I do too. But I was mad at him at the time. I'm like, you son of a bleep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, man. And I don't think that's something that they should do. I mean, you should remember your roots. I'm like, make it. If you want to make it for PlayStation, make it for everything. I'm pretty excited, man, to see what these guys can do. They're apparently.
I don't begrudge that.
Nah, they're apparently using UE5 as well, so that's cool. Umbra's be super excited about that as well.
Oh yes.
It's very difficult getting a brand new studio off the ground, and if someone's willing to come to you with a shit ton of money, helping you get your brand new game, which you've dreamt of making for a while, off the ground. And whether that be Sony or Xbox or whatever, that'd be more on Microsoft's part to not allow that to happen. They can't say no. They're a brand new studio making their very first game. You just can't say no to money, however much, we want to think of it on an emotional level. I just don't think you can think like that when you're starting a new business.
Yeah, well, they're actually backed by a London-based investor, so I don't think they're worried about money, and they're growing their team from 10 to 140.
Nice. And they got like 100 million, right? Is that right, Cutie?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm look, it's really exciting, but Riskit, I didn't think of them just creating a PlayStation exclusive. I don't think that will be the case. I think it'll probably be across both, but where they're located is actually near Playground Games, like as in location-wise, the studio where it is in real life.
Perfect location to betray Xbox. Yes.
But you know what? I've seen all their promotion and their marketing for it. They're using fantastic emotive language. They're really trying to inspire. I think they really are trying to target the newer developers, the young and talented, trying to encourage the next generation of superstars in development. And look, I think that's great. Why not?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
They've obviously maybe they signed up for perhaps they signed up for 5 Forzas Horizons.
Yeah, diversifying the industry is not a bad thing at all in any stretch of the imagination. And look, if ABK wasn't ABK and Microsoft wasn't kind of the way that they are, I'd probably be against the ABK acquisition, just based on the consolidation of the industry and what we've seen. I kind of want them to slow down on that, to be honest. I mean, we'll get to this later on, but people are talking about Microsoft acquiring Ubisoft. I don't want them to. I don't think that would be a good thing, and I think it'd get stopped anyway. But I want to see more studios spring up. I want to see more AA studios, more AAA studios. I want to see more, more competition within the industry. I mean, we had a conversation earlier in the week, me, Umbra, Pete, about engines competing against engines, and do they, or is it gamers that push engines? And studios will push studios. That is kind of how that works. Like, you have a studio release something, that studio sees it and goes, oh man, that's a great idea. Maybe we can incorporate that. Maybe we can do better than that. Maybe we could do this. So the more studios, the better. And I don't really care if they come from, if they come from Playground. Playground's like one of the best developers in the business. This is a great pedigree to start a new studio. Is it going to hurt Forza? That's my question, Mr. Bushido. Do you think that this is going to sting Forza in any way?
No, it's only 4 people. And I do agree that it's probably something in the agreement that, if you guys are able to do that, you have to help out with this still. And you don't have to do the day-to-day over at the other studio either. Like Umbra said, they might build the studio right next to the other studio, so and you just walk back and forth. But in seriousness, though, I don't think it's that big a deal. There's always somebody they're grooming. Let's say they left altogether. And there's always turnover in the industry. It's 4 people. I don't think it's that big a deal. I do love the idea, though, that there's another AAA open world game coming in this generation that I would love to get a chance to play. Every time I hear a new studio is opening or is making a new game, that's the first thing I think of is great, more games to play. And that's all I could think of in this instance. I can't see too much negative, and I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm just saying I don't see too many negatives about it, though. So as long as they're still putting in time and and we still get Forza being what it is, and we get a new IP, I'm solid.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I personally, for me, I'm a little bit concerned about what it means for the future Horizon series with them. Like, what does 6 look like? Will it still have that same magic, that spark, that that curiosity that we love when we play that game? That's what's set Forza Horizon apart from other racing sims, because it's just so charming. It has so much personality, and whether that's come from this team, I'm not sure. I don't think that they will make a competitive racing title. I don't think they will. But they have said in an article that it will launch on consoles and PC.
Yeah.
So whether that, so
Absolutely.
it's not.
No, they have said it's not a competitive racing title they're working on at the minute.
Yeah,
that's not what's in development. So that's
6 people. It's the
Oh,
They want to
so
grow to
director.
140.
Yeah.
But 6 people are leaving the Forza team. I don't see
Yes.
how that can possibly, take the magic out of the Forza Horizon 6 game. I mean,
No,
I just don't see that.
I hope not. I hope not. But if they're some of the leaders and they're guiding these teams, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's creative director that left. It's the lead producer that left. It's a technical director that left, and the technical art director, and an audio director, and an art director. So they were in pretty high positions, Doomy. So you're right. It does have the ability to affect it. Do I think 6 people will affect the next game? No, I don't. I really don't. And I think I agree with you, Riskit. Like, these guys are probably entrepreneurs. It's very difficult at the best of times to start a brand new studio. The gaming landscape is incredibly hard to get into. There's just so many people vying for the piece of the pie. And although gaming's never been bigger than it is now, it's just never easy. I'm so glad that they were able to secure that seed funding. I don't know how far that will take them, but for a brand new IP from a brand new studio to be looking at hiring over 140 people and getting, that money to do that, that's impressive. I'm hoping something special from them.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it too. I am of mind with all of you guys. I don't think that the 6 people that left and the other 4 they picked up from other places are really going to greatly affect any of those other projects at all, really. I'm sure they'll have some things to overcome, since they were in higher positions. But other than that, I think the games will be perfectly fine. I still believe in magic, cutie. So yes, I think it'll be magical experiences for sure.
You still have to
Yeah.
race me, Umbra.
Oh yeah, I do. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to let you know. I'm likely going to run you off the road. I do not play
That's all right.
fair.
He's gonna
Yeah.
keep ducking
Yeah,
it.
I can play Daddy too. Don't worry.
That's
Okay, I just want to let you know because I
that's
would be
exactly
racing you
how
off. You'd be
Cutie.
like, what are you
That's
doing, Umbra?
exactly
What are you
how-
doing?
It's exactly how Cutie races, man. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Oh.
I'd put her straight off the track immediately. To be honest, she not to
Yeah,
be trusted
see.
yet. Not to be
I'm
trusted.
just letting her know because I don't want her to be like, Umbra, did you cheat me? Did you knock me off the road? I'm like, yes, I did. I
set
told
me-
you beforehand.
You set me up.
You're right. You
I was trying to do your voice because you did my voice.
Set me up.
That's so bad.
Gotta add a little bass to it, cutie, but it's all right. You'll make it. But no, yeah, my thing is that I don't think this will hurt anything in any way. And like Pete pointed out too, and Bushido, surprisingly,
Rinse his mouth out now.
I'm always happy to see new games being made. So new IP by quality people like this, absolutely, I'm excited for it. So long as the caveat, Riskit, as they don't sit there and try to go exclusive to PlayStation. Keep it, on all platforms, if anything. That would be my only thing.
Yeah.
I absolutely 110% agree. I think I don't think this is going to hurt too much. I think that when it comes to, I don't know if this is a Microsoft company and they're pretty tight with the way they run things. I think, and when you're running a business, generally what I do in my job is I teach my job to the man beneath me, and I know the job of the man above me. So there's always someone to step into my role if I'm sick, or I can step into, or I leave, or if the guy above me is sick or leaves, I can always step into his role. That's usually how I operate in a workplace, and I think that's the way Microsoft probably has been operating. So I'm sure that there's someone there to fill those roles. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. We will move on to the next topic, and I will say as well, just for Mark, it did say in the back end of that Forza trailer that Forza 8 was releasing in spring of 2023. So they have given a season, even a section of the year where they said they were going to release. So I guess if they don't, they're going to hear about it, but that's what us gamers do. Moving to the next topic. Before I do, guys, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you are new here, we go live normally on a Friday at 7 p.m. EST. We're a little bit late today because my partner was sick. Moneybags 97 asked a question. He said, replaced Liza P. Valheim, Game Pass sleepers. Do you think a Game Pass show every 3 months would work? Yes, I do. I think that that's kind of the place to do it. We'll jump on this real quickly. This is kind of the place to do it, I think. Having a show, a developer direct. And remember, when they announced developer direct, they said this is, Aaron Greenberg said, this is our first developer direct. That means that they're probably going to have more. I don't think he'd use that language unless they were going to have more. And I think everyone's been saying this for a while. I think this is a general feeling in the community. So I don't think I'm lying or making up stories. I think what... sorry, I just can't believe Dude came in to say that. Like, why waste your day, you dumb fuck? Anyway, I think it's all right to have 3 shows a year and then you're E3. You know, you have them 1 a quarter. You're following up on things you've told gamers in the past. You know, sure, you can have a little bit of bad news outside of those and go, hey, we're delayed. Oh, but hey, the show's coming up in a month, and here's what the show's going to be. That keeps that goodwill rolling. I think it's definitely a way to do it. PlayStation were doing that with their PlayStation, what do they call them? PlayStation Showcase, whatever the hell they are. They were doing that pretty well. I mean, they seem to have dropped off. It's probably because they've got no games. But you know, I think it's just something that they need to do to keep this goodwill going. We've been complaining about their marketing for I don't know how long, and I think that this would go at least a step in the right direction to stop that from happening. You know what I mean? Us hardcore gamers, we want news. We want news all the time. We want to know what's going on, and we want to know what's coming. And it just kind of secures us. You know, we feel secure that these games are coming, and we've heard something about them. So I 110% agree with that. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I don't know if it needs to be every 3 months, but I absolutely would not object to it. Then that, by the way, is a great way, better yet, to showcase and market those games, the third-party games coming to Game Pass. So that would absolutely be the way to go, in my opinion. And by the way, for how I feel about Replaced and all those games, I don't see Liza P, by the way, as a kind of overlooked game. I think that's going to be major, personally.
Mm-hmm.
So long, provided it's done well, because not all Souls games are created equally. So we'll see how that they deliver, but it looks like it's going to be a hit to me.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
Colt Eastwood got his hands on the game, and I was talking to him the other day, and cause we were talking about Liza P, and he, like I said, he had hands on with the game. I think that was at PAX East or something, and he said it was good. He said it felt tight and it was beautiful. So, like that to me is pretty encouraging. But
Xbox
Colt like Crackdown 3, so you never know, you might be wrong.
I like that. I like
the you still better in there.
Crackdown 3 wasn't that bad. Do you think Xbox should do it like PlayStation State of Plays Risk, where they just show one game at a time?
They should, but they're not always going to have something to show from first party. That solves the problem, right? Like, let's show some of these let's bring some of these third-party games that we've got in our service to the forefront in a developer direct. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with that.
I think letting developers tell their story about games that are coming out, it's always going to be a positive thing. It's always going to really engage the community in a meaningful way, rather than having, these massive showcases that are very, you have a personality, hosting it, and it's this, massive, massive event. I think sticking to the heart of gaming, which are gamers and developers, and bringing them closer together, I think can only be a positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I 110% think it's a great question, Pete. What do you think, Umbra? Do you think that they should be showing some of these Game Pass games, these third-party developers in these directs?
It's not even a question for me. I'm absolutely on board with that. I actually said as much. I felt like that, the first party is the way to go. I don't fault them for doing this, how they did it, because they have to absolutely highlight and market the first party games. And I'm not mad at how they did it. I'm not mad that they didn't choose to put third party there. But I believe that it would have made sense to also highlight those games too, because those are coming up soon as well. Mm-hmm. I think as early as next month we're going to have some good releases. So yeah, that would have been smart. But it is what it is. Maybe they will kind of do a little Game Pass treat or something like that, as they tend to do in these things, and kind of show what's coming up. So, and I actually do expect there to be some type of announcement or two, such as Family Plan, or what was that other one? Family Plan and
Ubisoft Plus.
Ubisoft Plus possibly
Oh
coming
yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
Which we are going to talk about, but I did want to ask
Yep.
Bushido the same question, which is pretty much like asking Umbra. It's like asking the same guy same question twice, but we'll ask anyway. I had to take a shot at some stage. Look, would you want to see third parties in the developer directs,
No.
or would you see it as they're like them saying, "Hey, we don't have any first party to show," and you don't want that?
No, I only reason why I say no is if you separate it and you make it where it's indie games and then have a I don't know, I've really thought about this a few times because I've been asked that a couple times. I still don't really know because I don't think it's a problem if third party is there. But then I think to myself, well, what are you gonna have at E3 then? Or should this space be just for first party, or is it going to be first party and indie? I think of things like that. I think way too much, but at the same time, um, I'm not sure. Every point I hear from every other person is a really good one. Everybody's had a good point, but I still can't tell. Now that's what you get.
Look, I'll move on to the next topic. Before I do, guys, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. If you are new here, we're going to talk about exactly what Umbra was sort of segueing into there. Ubisoft Plus has been spotted in the store as an icon next to a lot of games, quite a few games, over 20 games. I'll give you a quick idea of what they've been spotted next to. The Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, Black Flag, China, India, and Russia. The Ezio collection, Valhalla. So basically all of the Assassin's Creed, all of the Far Cries, Monopoly, Rabbids, Party of Legends, Raymans, Riders Republic, which is a really cool game, but I wouldn't buy that game. But now that if it's coming, I'll be playing it. The Division, Uno, and Watch Dogs. So basically all of the Ubisoft fare, the standard sort of stuff. This is an interesting one because people are talking about this from a perspective of it's probably going to come to Game Pass. I'm torn between the two, mainly because I don't think Ubisoft would do that. I don't think that they're the kind of company that would put their offering within Game Pass, and then just Microsoft would up the price by, I think $10 would be fair. A lot of people disagree with me and they say $5, but I think I would take that for 10 if they added a few more things. They've just shut down 7 games. They'd be looking to get as much revenue as possible and maximize that. I don't think bringing that into Game Pass as a tier is going to do that for Ubisoft. I think having it on the system, there's going to be some people that subscribe to it. Not us. You got to think about this from a lot of hardcore gamers like, but shit, I've already played all that. I ain't going to subscribe to that. There's a lot of people that haven't, that will subscribe to play these games. A lot of people haven't played Valhalla. There's a lot of casuals that would jump in and subscribe to this to play it. So what's going to maximize profits for Ubisoft? We don't have the data, so we don't know. I'm skeptical that it comes to Game Pass and becomes a tier of. I'd love to see it. That's what I'm hoping for. I just don't think it's going to happen. Jedi Knight, do you think that they're going to include Ubisoft Plus within Game Pass as a tier? If you do think that, what do you think's fair to charge?
Oh, as a tier, yeah, look, I mean, they didn't do it that way with EA Play, so I just don't know. Like, that's what I would have thought they would. Just because, what does Ubisoft Plus charge on its own? Isn't it something like $15 a month just on its own? And there's a couple of different tiers. I think one, you get day one games, and there's a few different tiers. So I don't actually know the structure that they have. If it's day one, how could they make it cheaper than Ubisoft charge on their own? Now, I'm one of those people that buy pretty much most Ubisoft games, although they're all pretty much the same. I quite enjoy them, especially the co-op ones. I really enjoyed The Division. I really enjoyed Far Cry. So, and Assassin's Creed has, been one of my favorite games for a long time now. So I actually quite enjoy Ubisoft games. I think they're good value for money. You know, whatever you think of Ubisoft as a company, I think that their games get a bad rep sometimes just because, you know, you feel like you're playing the same game all the time.
Mhm.
Do I think that? Look,
Just to
if they
answer
split
your
it on a
question, just to answer your question quickly, in Australia, it's $20 a month, $19.95.
Yeah, see, that's incredibly expensive. That's more
Mhm.
than Game Pass itself. So
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't want to pay that. Like,
Mm-mm.
and nowhere near that. I probably don't even think I'd pay half of that $10. I just think that there's much more value in Game Pass as it is right now than, you know, adding a few Ubisoft games. And like I said, I typically buy all Ubisoft games themselves. So if they did do it, if they did add Ubisoft Plus, I would hope that you would be able to pick and choose whether you want it or not. And, you know, therefore the pricing doesn't really matter that much. I know that's sitting on the fence, and I apologize, but yeah, look, I really don't have a better answer than that. I personally wouldn't pay the extra $10 a month to have Ubisoft games on there for me.
No, it's an interesting question. This is just why I don't, because of the cost of it. I thought it was actually $17.95, to be honest with you, but I wasn't too sure until I looked. And it was the cost that I thought that it's just, I don't see Ubisoft like bending the knee to Microsoft and saying, hey, yeah, we'll take the hit. And we'll put it in there for an extra $5 a month. I just can't see it happening. I will say EA is only available on Ultimate, so it is sort of a tiered system. And so there is a precedent for Microsoft doing this. They could add another tier, and I mean, what would you call it? Xbox Infinite or Ultimate?
Maybe you could choose between
Ultimate.
the two risks. So you either pick EA Play or you pick Ubisoft, and they could do it that way. That'd be a hard choice to pick between the two, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, guys in the chat, I'd be interested to know as well. I'm ready to say, put some questions in there if you have a question. Guys in the chat, what would you want to pay for Ubisoft Plus if it did come as a tier? I'd be interested to know what everyone thinks. Bushido, what would you be willing to pay? Do you think it's going to come to Game Pass in a tier? And what would you pay for it if it did? Oh.
Umbra is better than me. I just wanted to clear that up. Oh, Bushido, you're back. Oh, okay.
Pete, I wouldn't want to pay $10 or 15. He's right. I love Ubisoft games, to be honest with you. About 70% of them I really love, but I'm not, and I buy them. I usually don't get to them until like the next year most of the time. I don't know why. I still haven't played Valhalla, but if it was up to me, how much would I accept? No, I'm not paying $10 extra for them. I'm not paying 15. I'm not paying $20.
Hang on a minute.
I don't know why. I love the games too.
That kind of comes to it. That kind of comes to a thing. I want to ask you a question because you just said you hadn't played Valhalla. Would you pay the money to play Valhalla and then cancel the subscription?
Yes.
Oh.
If it was $10, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
10, 15, maybe. But I don't know why with Ubisoft. I just feel like Ubisoft would find some kind of contractual way that they're like, all right, look, you can play those games, the new games, but you're going to have the service for at least 3 months or something like that. So I don't know. I got to see with them. I don't trust them. But I will say that if it was on GP and it was only $5 extra, absolutely. That makes it way more appealing to anyone to be able to put another $5 in just to play Ubisoft games. And if Ubisoft was thinking, most of the time when you have a subscription service and you're not paying that much more for something else, you're not paying attention to it coming out of your account. So if it's $5 extra coming out of your account for Game Pass, you would see it like, oh yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that. But you probably wouldn't make a big deal about it. I really believe that Ubisoft is just as greedy as EA. No, nobody's more greedy than EA. I'm sorry, that's disrespectful. But I do think that if someone were to help convince them that that would be the way to go, and also too, you get more subs. If you go big, thinking that you need to make a big, you think you can make a large amount like that with just having just your service, I really believe you're wrong.
Yeah, look, the difference is, I think, with Game Pass, if you add it to Game Pass, I'm sure EA have worked out a payment structure that not only includes the upfront payment they get from Microsoft, but there would be an individual payment, and that would differ per game. So some games would pay you for the amount of people that play it, some people would pay you per hour, and so there'd be extra monetary incentives for Ubisoft to actually put it there, on Game Pass from Microsoft. And so the question does become, if it's $20 on its own on Ubisoft, and they reduce it to say that $7 mark that people will be comfortable with. Or well, I'll actually ask you, Umbra, what would you be comfortable paying, and do you think Microsoft should go that route?
Yeah,
Well, if it was up
$5
to
seems to
me,
be about right.
oh,
See, I beat you to it. See, no delay on my end. I'm right on time. Right on
Yes, you
time. Anyway, no, I think $5, and that seems to be kind of the consensus if you look at the chat too. I'm actually there with you guys. But there are caveats. Throw up the tomatoes, everybody.
There always are.
There are caveats, right? And that is, what do they give us with that? Like, if it's older games, the problem with that is, and I think AGH pointed that out, is that really going to move us or justify the increase if we've already played them and own them, right? I own a lot of those. I played a lot of those, the games that they're showing for Ubisoft Plus. So that's not going to really move me. There's no reason for me to subscribe with that. So what they'd have to do is, I think, and to make it really, really enticing, is if they included it into a tier and said, hey, you also get the day and date releases of our actual new games. Maybe, or you could say maybe 6 months later, like EA Play does. If they do that, or let's say however long it might be, I can justify paying $5 or $10 more. Yeah, especially if they say day and date. If they say day and date, I can justify paying $10 more. On top of that, too, I think there will be tiers. That much I think is a foregone conclusion. I think they have the family plan, and they have that new lower tier, the ad tier that they showed that is going to be a thing, and they're testing that out. And I think because of that, they'll have higher tiers as well. It's going to, unfortunately, go that PlayStation route that they did
so
with
do
theirs.
you think that Game Pass then becomes too convoluted for, say, the average casual gamer? So not us, we'll know what's going on, but do you
Right.
think if they do have a tiered system, it becomes too convoluted?
It could be. I mean, there is a problem. It could be a problem in that. I think though that they have people behind their marketing and everything that's way smarter than myself. So they're going to get there and
Oh,
properly.
I don't know about that, bro.
I mean, yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm lying too. I think I'm the smart. No, I'm joking. No, but seriously, I feel like they'll find a way to competently put it out there and say, hey, you'll get this with this tier. You'll get this with that tier. You get this with that tier. And they might have it titled like, oh, this is the family plan, and you get Game Pass Family for however many people that can share it. You'll also get this in this tier. You know what I mean? They'll have the ad tier, which will be the lowest, and so on and so forth. I think they'll find a way to properly put it in, personally. And I think that
Game
Game
always
Pass
by
will.
the cheapest tier anyway.
Yeah, and I think Game Pass will benefit because of it. Like I said, to me, it comes down to what they're going to offer with Ubisoft. If it's just those games, it doesn't appeal to me. But there are tons of people out there who have not touched those games who it
that's a good
absolutely will
question.
appeal to.
Jimmy, you haven't played game for as long as we have. I mean, if you got a chance to play those original Assassin's Creed games that you maybe haven't delved into, would this be something that you're interested in?
If I got the opportunity to experience them again, but not for $20,
Mm-mm.
like that's way too much. And if you think about how many games have actually released, like I enjoyed playing Far Cry, but I mean, only a couple of them have been, half decent, to be honest, or anything to sort of like, really celebrate. So, and honestly, with the amount of
Far Cry
delays,
games are amazing.
no, but I mean, as in, if you compare the latest release to previous one, it wasn't as strong, I felt.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I have to agree with Jimmy. They're not that good.
But if you think about overall, how many games they actually released, like outside of Far Cry, outside of Assassin's Creed, I mean, I know they're pitting their hopes, I think so, on the Avatar game, but that's going to be delayed. It's already, yeah. So I don't know. I'm really not that fussed about it. If I want to play it, I'll buy it.
Well, there is another factor. There is another factor to this as well that we haven't talked about that we kind of need to bring into the discussion because it, as I said, it is a factor in this. Is that very recently we've heard that they've cancelled a further 3 games that were in development unannounced. That's 7 games in total that they've shut down. They are in financial strife. Their stocks plummeted. And I'll probably go to Pete to talk about the stock, because that's just really not my thing. But that's hurting them. They would be looking to gather as much revenue as they could. And so maybe this, kind of Microsoft has them a bit over a barrel with this one. Drawn TJ with the $2 super chat says that he would pay $6 for Ubisoft Plus. I would probably as well. And Thimba, we are pretty much going through your question. Wouldn't you agree that Xbox could send Ubisoft a huge paycheck to get Ubisoft Plus on Game Pass Ultimate? Look at the state of Ubi. Yeah, look, absolutely. And Gerald Max sends a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Gerald. He says shout out to the Xbox Infinite podcast and panel. Yeah, look, I just I would happily pay $10 if I was getting DLC. I don't, for me, it wouldn't have to be day and date. But if I was getting, say, because we know their DLCs are good, they're usually pretty good. I'm a big fan of their Assassin's Creed series. And if I was getting that 6 months after release, plus the DLC that followed that, day and date, I would want the DLC day and date.
That's a good point.
They are quite good, but they're also incredibly expensive. They're $60 for standalone DLCs in Australia. That's the price of a game in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Is that much out there for y'all?
Yeah, it really is. Just for the DLC, it's insanity.
It's like $15 over here.
Yeah. It's a bit ridiculous. AJH says in the chat, he says Ubi's liabilities are larger than their net worth. They are crippled at the moment. That is true. And they are probably prime for acquisition. And here's the thing. A lot of people are talking Microsoft could get them. Microsoft should get them. Microsoft. And I think that's talking from a fan's perspective because you want those games in Game Pass. And I understand that. But that ain't happening. So anyone who, and I'm 110% definitive on this, that is not happening. There's no way that if the ABK deal goes through, there's no way that they are ever getting Ubisoft. That is just not going to happen. The FTC would not let that happen.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Not a chance. So,
just to add, by the way, and since our good brother Boba is in the chat, I was on the exclusive Gamers Initiative podcast the other day, and Gaming Guru pointed out, he said, what if they brought Netflix as well as Ubisoft Plus to Game Pass and said it's $10 a month for both with that added on $10 more. Would you all pay for that?
I wish people would let that Netflix thing go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen.
It's
just not.
Yeah, look, I agree.
We're another company in financial troubles. They are very expensive to make their shows. I can't see them taking that on.
No, neither. I don't either. But Mark from Legendary Drops also threw something in the chat a bit earlier that I wanted to add because their financial strife is a factor. And he said historically Game Pass partners make 50% more with their games due to people buying expansions and microtransactions. And Ubisoft doesn't really have a gas game, but they do have DLC. And so if they put that in and they have day and date, but don't have their DLC, and you have to buy that could be a route that they could go also. So there's many different ways and many different tiers that they could offer this in Game Pass if they do. But look, I just don't think they're going to. I don't think Ubisoft are that company that's going to go, yeah, we're down, we're going to do this, especially when they're charging $20 Australian for their subscription. So yeah, look, I do want to wrap up the topic, but it is a big one. Pete, I wanted to go to you on their stocks. Like it dropped, I can't remember by how much, but it was pretty huge. Do you think, just before we do move on, do you think that Ubisoft's prime for acquisition? Do you think we're going to see a 10-cent swoop in or a Embracer swoop in and try to take Ubisoft?
Look, it's happened before. There's no doubt that Ubisoft have been under the strain of being acquired for numerous occasions. I think they fought off hostile takeovers before. There's obviously people in the marketplace trying to buy them, and this has been an ongoing thing for, I think, at least 10 years now. Now, the problem is the two brothers are in love with this company. They've built it from the ground up and they want to keep it themselves. They fought that hostile takeover. It was an incredibly difficult thing to go through, but they actually won out in the end, and the board did stick with them. Now, the problem is this earnings report was incredibly impactful on that, and I think they went down almost 14%. And so, that earnings report really, really hurt them, and they've had to back off on several of their projects. And, whenever that's happening, it's never a good sign. But not only that, Ubisoft's stock price, in 2019 was like $95. So along the lines of where Activision was when they acquired it. I think Microsoft paid $110 to buy them, which was $15 overs. So they would have been valued around a very similar mark to what Activision was. They are now worth a measly $20. It's gone down 75%.
Wow.
75% in 5 years. It's not a good sign. And I just don't think they're going to want to sell off. I think that they believe in their products and they believe they can get themselves up to a value that's much more reminiscent of where they were. Now, have they made wrong decisions? Yes, absolutely. Focusing on live service games like X-Defiant and Hyperscape and things of that nature have hurt them. They've hurt them tremendously. I get why they did it. The live service model is the thing in the industry at the moment, and if you can get a hit like they have with Rainbow Six Siege, it doesn't cost that much to keep that game updated, and it makes them an incredible amount of money. It really, really does. It's an absolutely money maker. But I think they need to go back to their roots. I think they need to make Splinter Cell, make a great Assassin's Creed game, bring out the
Sir.
Division 3. I mean, these IPs are still incredibly valuable and have, really good names within the industry. They really do. They sell well, especially Assassin's Creed, every single year. So that's what I would do if I was Ubisoft. But, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, you're
Do you think
absolutely right. It
Splinter
was.
Cell
Sorry,
could
you go.
save them? Do you think that would make
I
it more
don't.
valuable?
I don't. I think Splinter Cell it's so old now, and yes, although it has a great name, it's still a single player stealth driven game. They just don't sell that well anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, at their peak, it was actually quite a bit higher. Well,
A new one though?
at their peak, Ubisoft was actually trading, I think it was in 2018 for 102.95 euros. So that's crazy to have a drop. I think now we're at today, real time, it's sitting at 20.79. So that's ridiculously bad. But everyone's down. I mean, Electronic Arts is down by 0.76%. Square Enix is down by 2.55%. Capcom's down as well. Nintendo's even down by 1%. So gaming has kind of dropped out the arse, but Ubisoft has really taken a massive hit, especially with this earnings call. And their nose is open. They are ripe for acquisition. But do you think we'll see an acquisition of Ubisoft? By the Tencents or by the Embraces?
I think that Embracer absolutely is a possibility. Unfortunately, Microsoft can't be just yet, but I guess it all depends on how long it goes before, Ubisoft tries to, bite the bullet, as they would say. The thing is, for me, is that, like Pete pointed out, they've lost so much. They had recently where their stock shares dropped to $4.39, and that's the lowest it's been since 2016. They're not looking good as far as that goes, and part of that is because of the style of games that they put out and what they value. And let's just be clear: Ubisoft has 20,000 plus people employed. That's a lot. That's Microsoft numbers right there. You know what I mean? That's a ton, and they don't have Microsoft money. So that's a lot of people to account for. And there's news already that they have to figure out a way to get about $200 million in funding just to take care of certain things already. They've already canceled 7 games now.
7, yeah.
And so it's a problem all across the board for them. As far as Embracer, I saw somebody in the chat mention that there can't be a hostile takeover due to the French government and how the French government works for them. So I don't know how that would work. I don't think it'll be hostile though. I think they'll be all too happy to do some type of fire sale or something like that, where some of these IP and things like that may have to be sold off. And like most of you all in chat, I am hoping that Splinter Cell is one of them that comes home to Microsoft.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it's unfortunate for Ubisoft because I do like them and I think they get more hate than they deserve. I still think they deliver quality games and things like that. Excuse the background noise. And
man, who'd you shoot this time, dude?
Hey, Chicago. What can I do about it? You know what I mean? I got to take somebody. Somebody got to get taken out. It ain't gonna be me. No, but my thing is though, I don't want to see Ubisoft go the way of the dodo. I hope that this, they stave off whatever the situation is going on for them. But I feel like with all of those people they have employed, for one, we're about to see a lot of lost jobs, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And two, it might have to be the case that well, you know what? To be fair, too, it could be fortunate because a lot of those people will move on to different companies, right? So maybe we'll get a lot of quality people that jump into the Mavericks of the industry, or might have some people join into Crystal Dynamics or the initiatives and such. So you never know how it could play out. I just feel like it's going to be a lot of job loss, and it's possible that it could be a fire sale depending on how things work out for them financially on these other games that they plan on releasing.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the Avatar game doesn't wow me from what I've seen. I'm not like wowed by that, and I know they delayed that as well. So
I haven't seen enough to be wowed, Umbra.
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, look, in saying that,
Vivendi Riskit. It was Vivendi that tried to buy them back, I don't know, in 2015, and they actually bought a 27% stake in it. And as but they never got a seat on the board. And I get the French government has very different things when it comes to these type of acquisitions, but it was a seemingly hostile takeover. It really, really was. And because they didn't get a seat on the board, they had to enter into an agreement. And what happened in that agreement is they said that they had to sell off all their shares, so they no longer own anything in the company, and they couldn't own anything for 5 more years. That 5-year period comes up this year in 2023. So it very much could be Vivendi that are going to try and buy them again. They've done it before. They're now ripe for the picking. So if it would be anyone, I would pick Vivendi. And I think Tencent already own 5% of Ubisoft as well.
Yeah, and there's plenty of players out there aside from Embracer and Tencent, like Amazon. Google could try to make another play and come in as a software developer. You really don't know. But listen, I don't think this is as drastically bad as it seems just now. And I'll tell you why. But before I do, I'll just get a couple of these questions that have come up. We've kind of answered a couple of them from AJH. He said,
I'm still waiting for my question to be answered.
It's not getting answered.
You did pass up this question. I want to point that out.
Yeah, I think we went right over it.
It wasn't by accident. It's by design. So like AJH says the only way
handle the truth.
He says the only way any semi-survive is if they either A, get a huge cash injection, sell off IPs. That's right, AJH. I completely agree. Fire sale. Do we think Microsoft will pick the bones? No, that won't look good for Microsoft. Microsoft won't do that just due to optics. I'm telling you right now, they won't do it. However,
you don't think they would even buy IPs? You don't think they would even buy IPs?
Nope. I don't think they would pick at the bones. Definitely they wouldn't do that unless this deal doesn't go through, and then I think they will pick at any bones. But listen, there's a lot coming for Ubisoft, and I think this will bump their share price and bring them back. Oh, fantastic. Udani Queza dropped a code in the chat for a Halo Oreo skin.
Nice. Thank you, Udani.
Yeah.
Wait, Chris, just to get clarity, you said that you don't think Microsoft would go after like Splinter Cell if it was a fire sale for it?
Nope.
Oh no. If Splinter Cell was on the table and Microsoft didn't make a bid for that, Microsoft would catch some heat. And I would be one of the people at the forefront complaining.
Yeah,
I feel like that IP, I feel like they can still do what they're doing.
I don't disagree with you. I think that they should. I just don't think they would.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll affect it. I don't think that would affect anything trying to get that IP personally. I don't think that.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think so either.
I just don't think it's good optics when you start picking at the bones after you've gone through a massive acquisition. and you're being looked at by the FTC, the CMA, the EC, and then to go in after a company's gone down and start picking at their IPs, I don't think that would look good. I just don't think Microsoft would do it. I think they'd stay away from it personally.
But maybe they could do something where they kind of hold off on it, right? Like they maybe give it a year. Yeah. They don't sell it to anyone else. They give them.
Hold off from announcing it.
But listen. I just wanted to add this because like we're talking about share prices and being down. And listen, I would probably, if I had a fair bit of money to throw at it, I would probably throw some money in Ubisoft now. To be honest, I'm not saying that you should in the chat. I'm not a stock market analyst, so don't take what I say. But personally, I feel that what they've got coming is going to give them a big boost. They've got Avatar, Frontiers, and Pandora. You've got Prince of Persia, the remake. That's not a hard thing to do to hit. Like Prince of Persia was amazing. They don't even really need to update mechanics, just graphics. Now, X-Defiant might actually be a good game. It's just a shame they use their old IPs as the characters. It's a weird choice. If they tidy that up, that could come out. It's still a possibility to be okay. And it's a free-to-play game, so everyone's going to be playing it. And Ubisoft aren't known for making mechanically bad games. If this game's mechanically good and it feels good to play, I think people will stick with it. I give X-Defiant a chance. Skull and Bones is dead.
I don't know.
Skull and Bones is dead in the water.
I feel with X-Defiant, though, man, it's tough enough anyway for the free-to-play market for a lot of these games. And the field that they're trying to get into is just dominated by so many other quality, free-to-play games in that same genre. I don't know if that'll work out for them in the long run, personally.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Where Beyond Good and Evil is at. That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
and game has been in development for like ever.
Hargate just said
set a new record, by the way. They passed up Duke Nukem being in the Guinness World Records for the longest game in development.
Yeah. So look, Hargeet in the chat just dropped the $5 super chat. Thank you, Hargeet, the most generous man in gaming. He said, not sure if it was mentioned, but Tencent just invested in Ubisoft last year, and their shares can't be sold for 5 years. Another reason that the company, I think, will be shored up. Okay, so let me continue with the games that are coming. We've got Assassin's Creed Mirage. That's coming as well. That's going to be a big boost. They've also got 2 other Assassin's Creeds they've mentioned in development. Right, they've got Rainbow Six Mobile coming. That's in development. Mobile games are a big boost and big money makers. However, how they handle that is important. You've also got The Division, another resurgence, another mobile game coming. That's gonna give them a monetary boost. Then you've got Division Heartland coming as well. They can pump out these games in the next beginning in the next 2 to 3 years. We know Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming this year. They can start getting out Heartland, the year following. Pump out these mobile games and then maybe come with Prince of Persia the year after. The next 3 to 4 years will be crucial for them. I think they've got a chance of bringing this back. Some of the games they've got on the board can bring this game back. It's just how they handle them and how they release them.
Abandon Skull and Bones. They need to abandon X-Defiant. I mean, these games they're just not going to do well. I cannot see them doing well, especially things like X-Defiant. I just think that's just a mishmash of. It's just a very, very badly made game. It really is absolute nonsense, and I think they need to abandon the Hyperscape game as well. It's meant to be equivalent to say what Fortnite does, and it's just costing them money at this point in time, and I think they need to abandon that. But I think you're right, Risk. I think they can come back as well, mate.
Yeah, they've got.
By the way, were any of those games canceled? Were any of those the ones that were canceled? I wonder.
No, all those games are coming soon. They're on their website. Sorry, Cutie, you were gonna. Add?
I think that they were hoping that Skull and Bones would become their latest and live service game. And from what I've seen of it and from what we experienced of it. The fact that all of these things are being delayed and, all these titles that are bigger and we're more excited for are now pushed back. It just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I don't feel that they have any faith in Skull and Bones personally. And the fact that it's been in development since 2013. That's a decade of development for the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you played it,
6 delays,
you would know why.
And you,
I want to know who was asking for that game. I want to know who was asking for that game.
A couple of people pointed out that Hyperscape has already been shut down. So thank you to everyone in the chat, man. That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I figured it. I haven't heard anything about it. And thanks, by the way, Gray. It was Beyond Good and Evil 2 that was the longest in development. It got the record.
That's right. Yeah.
But for Skull and Bones, which Riskit owes me kneecaps for. Yeah, that was delayed for the 6th time. And again, it's been in development so long. The reason, like you pointed out some time back, Pete, that they're even still dealing with that and haven't outright canceled it is because of the Singapore government. That's the only reason it's still alive. Otherwise, we wouldn't be hearing about that anymore either.
Yeah,
Well,
look,
that's why they're holding on to it.
yeah, I think that is why they're holding on to it. Pete's absolutely right about that. But also, we had a bit of a DM chat. Pete's like, you guys are calling me out, I'm leaving. Me and Umbra had a bit of a DM chat of just about like the state of development when it comes to Skull and Bones. And I don't want to stick on Ubisoft for too much longer, but I will say, because it is a bit of a nuanced topic, which is why we've been on it so long. But I think Skull and Bones could be a hit, right? And this is look, I got a chance to get hands on, and I can't say a whole lot about it. I can't say really anything about it. What I can say is it's Game Pass game, if it's even that. And I mean like a low tier one. I'm talking Extraction here. If you guys have played that in the chat, you know exactly what I'm saying here. But what I think what can be done with that game is give it the land section, give us another black flag and call it something else. If you tidy that game up and you've already got the mechanics, all you need to do is port over what you already had from previous Ubisoft games. They've got Mirage in development that's supposed to be a very similar game to those old style Assassin's Creed games. Port that over. Give us a land section, call it a new IP. Call it Skull and Bones, that's your new IP. And it's pretty much the same as Assassin's Creed. No one's going to get mad at that. No one's going to be like, oh, it's pretty much Assassin's Creed, but it's cool, man. It's pirates. No one is going to be bothered by that. So and me and Umbra were having a conversation about they scaled the game down. They should never have scaled it really down to just marine combat and tried to. That marine combat was fleshed out as much as it needed to be. You could add a little bit more, but they should have just kept that land section in, sailing the high seas, having battles on board when you board someone's ship. I believe I didn't board anyone while I played the game, so this is not under NDA. But I believe when you can't board someone's ship, or when you do board, you don't actually have combat. It's sort of
board each other's ship.
Yeah, it's sort of
you don't actually fight each other.
This is something
you
we
fight
got to
the
be
ship.
really careful with Risk.
Yeah.
I think just be careful, brother.
Okay, yeah. But I was gonna say this, Risk. Yeah, you hit it on the head, and that's the thing. Like Black Flag is my favorite Assassin's Creed game in the series, personally. And to have that where you can actually not only have naval combat, which I came to love in Black Flag. I thought it would be a drag, but I actually came to love that. I thought they did that so perfectly well. And then on top of that, you get to go on land and attack these people, or you get to go deep sea diving to hunt for whales or fight off sharks. That is dope, man. And having all of that in there, TZ has good taste too. It's his favorite as well.
Treasure hunt. Yeah, it's my favorite too. My favorite too. It's treasure hunting. So how good is treasure hunting?
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah, have all that added into it. Yeah, that would have made it so much better and more approachable. And combat, like you said, it can't be a case where you get the board. I don't know. I don't want to go too far with it, but I haven't played it, so I can talk on it. And if it's a matter of that you board people and you don't actually get to fight them, that's an L right there. It should be the case that you do that. And visually, it's a gorgeous game. Let
me add something to that when you're done. Yeah, I just think that the problem was not just that, but you had an idea from Black Flag, which used to be my favorite, but once I played Origins and Odyssey now is my favorite. Each one that I played became my new favorite one. But the problem that they made was you created 2 other games after that you can do naval battles. If you have a game that's just purely off of that, why would you make that in the next 2 games? I didn't even expect it to be the next 2 games. But guess what? If I want to do that, I can go back to Odyssey and do it. Why in the world would I want to play just that linearly? And I could jump from ship to ship, and I get new weapons and things like that. I just think they shot themselves in the foot.
That's a good point, by the way, because you're right. They continued it, furthered it, and developed it more in the different games. I haven't played Origins and Odyssey yet. I'm still stuck in Unity.
I'm telling you, you're going to love it.
I got to get through them. Yeah, and I'm the type where I'm stuck. Like, if I get on a game, I cannot advance to the next one until I finish the one before it.
So I'm finishing that one, yep.
So I want to get through that to get to those, and I've heard nothing but good things for Origins and such and Odyssey. So I do want to get to those. But you're right. I mean, they kind of shot themselves on the foot because it's the same game but better with those origin and such that you name it. It's like, why would I want the lesser with Skull and Bones? And so that's where it comes to a head with Risk. What he was pointing out, it's like you can't just give us naval combat. It has to be a wide swath of things that they could have done. Since it was playing off Black Flag, it would have made more sense. You're being a pirate and all.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting those man of wars. Fighting those man of wars in Black Flag was so much fun. I mean, you had to go to the outskirts of the actual map to find them. I think there was 4, if I remember correctly. But that was so much fun, and they were so difficult to take on.
They were hard to beat, yes.
Mm-hmm. And look, this is the old style sword fighting combat. I think it was at its pinnacle, to be honest. They made a spin-off called Rogue. With the naval combat. Look, I'll disagree with you guys on the naval combat with the following games because it was very cut down, that naval combat in the following games, even in Odyssey. It was all cut down. It was very small scale, whereas this was naval combat that was like, yeah, man, you didn't want to fast travel to the island. I pretty rarely fast traveled. I just get in my boat, listen to my sea shanties, and have a couple of naval battles on the way, and then head over that. And it was perfect as it was. Man, just look, bring us back some of that flavor. It's
look how glorious it looks on screen.
Yeah,
glorious game. And Mark made a good point too. By the way, Risk, he tagged you in it. He said it actually was a good idea in 2017. He's right. The game has been delayed so long. It's become untenable. That's the problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fair point. Back then, it would have been a thing. It would have been like, oh yeah, this is it. If it released in 2017.
Yeah, and look,
now so much time has passed.
I'd love to say more about what they didn't do. Unfortunately, I can't. But what I can say is there's plenty more that they can do. And
but in saying that, we were playing a slice of the game. So, we don't have the full picture yet, as it's not done because it's delayed. So,
yeah, well, absolutely. And hopefully they've delayed it because they're like, our on-land gameplay isn't up to snuff. And we're gonna bring that up to snuff because, I can't say too much on it, but there's definitely parts of the game that are good. There is parts of the game that are good, and it's just a shame that they haven't really fleshed this idea out. They've kind of very narrowly focused on the marine combat. We'll move on before I end up getting sued. But before I do, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new here. And we'll move on to the next topic. Xbox Game Pass family plan has been spotted in the store. Unbelievably, someone found this just sitting there. You couldn't buy it. There was no price tag on it, but it was in the US store. I've checked the Australian store. It's not in that Australian store. I've scoured for it. I don't know if it's since been removed from the US store, but I think that this may possibly be the Ubisoft Plus, and the family plan may possibly be the one more thing we get to see at this developer direct. And look, I'm all for it, man. I didn't give a shit about the family plan, to be honest with you, like initially. But seeing what you can do with it, like working with it across country, you can hook it up to friends, you can have 5 people on it. That to me it's money saving. And who doesn't want to save money, man? Except for PlayStation fans. They're weird about that sort of shit. So Pete, are you super excited for the family plan? Are you gonna jump in with a whole bunch of people, or are you just gonna stick to the ultimate that you have?
What are you asking me for? If I had a family, I would.
Did someone say family?
Look, I'm happy with my game share thing that I've got going at the moment. It works well for me. It's the reason I switched over to digital copies. I would have to buy 2 physical copies otherwise, especially when, playing things like co-op games. Well, I think it's a good idea, but yes, options are great. I've spoken to people that, are fathers, that are going to get this for their kids, so they can all game together under, and it goes under the one bill. I think it's a really great initiative by Microsoft. It's been a long time coming. I think it should have come sooner, but hey, I think we're getting it, and I think the announcement's going to be coming very, very soon. So, kudos to Microsoft for doing something like this.
Yeah. Did you just say Microsoft's got cooties?
Kudos to Microsoft for doing this.
My bad. I just like you.
You never know. Hey, don't hate.
You've got to. It sounds like a pony thing to say. You've got a gamer family, dude. Come on, you can hook up with a gamer family and
You just
And-
abandoned us? What the
I
hell?
know, right? It's hurt my feelings, dude.
Right.
I don't like you guys that much anyway.
Cutie, I wanted to hit you up and see if it's something that you could use if you would be jumping into the Game Pass family plan. I forget what the tiers are. We'll look it up while you're talking. But I believe it's significantly cheaper. I think it's you end up per person saving around about $5. Something that interests you.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have 2 children myself. I would definitely love to extend my subscription so that they didn't have to feed off my account all the time, because you have to actually be logged into the other person at the same time.
Mhm.
So my 6-year-old, well, in the kids area, I've got an Xbox One, and yeah, they use that, and yeah, she's actually playing Disney Dreamlight Valley like right now. But in saying that, I do need to be logged in so that she can play. So yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I'll definitely be upgrading if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And if for those of you who don't know, a Game Pass family plan covers up to 5 people in the same country, so you could be across country. It's and we don't have a price for it in America, but it kind of translates to about $32 Australian. It's €21.99. I'd say that's probably pretty close to about $20 US, or maybe $25 US. So that for 5 people is a pretty decent deal. Umbra, is that too steep for you? Will you be using Game Pass family when it launches?
At the moment, I don't have any need for it. I'm already game sharing right now with my nephew and other people who would want to play it.
What about your gamer family? Sorry, yeah, there you go.
I divorced you all a long time ago. No, but
I know. I thought I got a proposal before, Umbra. I don't know.
I was just testing you to see if you would fall for it. I'm like, I got it. I just want to know that I can get you. That's all. I don't want to. Let me stop. I'm just messing. Infinite Cutie. She'll be my bride someday. Yeah. My thing about it is, like, I could possibly reason it out, and even doing so with friends. But you all know me. I'm a private person. It has to be with people I really trust. So if I'm going to do that, it's going to have to be with people who I know are stand-up people. Like you all would absolutely fall into that. So don't feel negative about it. But I'm just saying it'd have to be something that's dedicated that everybody is in on and dedicated to. So then I would do it, absolutely. But other than that, I can't really see myself doing it. But I am happy that they're doing it, because I think it's a smart way to grow the business, and I think a lot of people will absolutely take advantage of it, because there are more people out there with family who have been limited because of the standard game sharing. So this is dope for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any friends or family, so unfortunately I won't be able to use it. But Bushido, you might be able to use it. I know that you do have a pretty significant family. So is it something that interests you?
But you're correct. I have 5 grandchildren, and 3 of them game. So right now I am literally paying $25 a month. But if that's about the same amount, I have no problem with that. The problem I have with paying $25 a month for mine and theirs is I have to pay for mine, get a card for mine, and then I have to get the codes for them also. And that is
Yeah.
exhausting and not necessary. So if the bill just comes out of my account, that would be fantastic. I would have nothing else to worry about because I already paid for theirs. So it would make it so much easier for me. Yeah, I would love for that to finally been given birth to for us welfare pass recipients. So
it's easy to go. I'll just answer your question quickly before I go to Cutie. Yeah, it does include it does include PC Game Pass Ultimate, and so the family plan folds in Ultimate into in its folds. All right, that's weird. Cutie.
Oh, I was going to say, I wonder what kind of family controls or they're going to have, and whether you can sort of select, times or limit rating of games that they can see. I wonder if there are going to be any customizations in regards to that.
They already have that.
They
That's
already have that.
No,
yeah.
well, I know
Well-
they have it, but it might be better if it was included inside. I don't know, just more accessible, I suppose, is what I'm trying to get at.
It's already included in the hardware, so it's locked in the hardware. So if you go into settings, it's there. But they also have an app as well, like a family app. So you can literally control the Xbox from the family app. So if you're like out at work and you see little Billy's been playing for 5 hours and you want to cut him off, you can cut him off.
Damn it, Billy.
Remotely. Yeah, Billy. John Buckles, thank you for the 99 cents. And he smiled with money eye emojis. So really, really appreciate you, dude. You're a champion. You didn't need to do that, but thank you very much. We'll move on to the next topic as I ramble and flick through things. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. If you're not, hit the like button. Both of y'all hit the like button. Share us out. Tell your grandma, tell your kids that Google and Nvidia are backing Sony in the ABK deal. You all know we had to talk about it. You know it had to happen. It's not a show without the... What are you... Damn dog just came in and started taking over the studio.
God, can you stop? I've had to scroll up. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's some problems that are going on inside the private chat here. And right. Oh my God. Anyway, moving on with the topic.
Man.
I ain't showing that one. That's terrific.
I don't think that comes out in the wash.
No, definitely doesn't. Hey. Moving on. So Google and Nvidia has stepped in to back the FTC's argument against Microsoft. And unfortunately, for some reason, the article's now blocked itself because of I'm not subscribed to Bloomberg, and I won't because Jason Cryer is a great journalist. So basically, what's going on is Nvidia is asking for, it's not fully backing. They're asking for most of the games to stay available on all third-party platforms, and their concern is within the cloud gaming space. I think Google has stepped in and backed FTC's entire argument and are going in hard at Microsoft. Now, in the past, Microsoft has stepped in against one of Nvidia's acquisitions that would have probably very likely have made them a monopoly in the graphics card space. And we know that Google and Microsoft have long been at each other's throats. Listen, as well, I want to add as well, there is companies that do hold monopolies on things, and it has just happened in a very Jim Ryan organic sort of way over time. Microsoft really does hold the monopoly for operating systems. Google holds the monopoly for pretty much search engines. There is space for other, I don't know what you guys are posting, but stop it. There is space in both of those markets for someone else to come in. But once someone holds the monopoly on these things, it does make it a hell of a lot more difficult. So the space is there for people to come in, and it's more about how you operate within that monopoly, as opposed to whether it is a monopoly. Now, they will try to stop monopolies. The FTC and regulators will try to stop a monopoly. If it does happen organically, they won't shut you down and make you bust up your company unless you are doing things, which is why Microsoft is so careful about how they approach things, unless you are doing things that are anti-competition. And very recently, I know I'm going on about this for a little while, very recently, Google was mandated by the EC to allow other stores in their mobile space, which up until this point, they really haven't allowed. I'm sure that they will follow suit with Apple. I think it was Apple as well. They also have to have other stores, and I'm pretty sure the regulators around the world will follow suit. And I think personally that this is what Google is worried about. I think Google's worry is the mobile market. They don't want Microsoft stepping in there. They know they're a $1 trillion company. They also know that ABK at one point was building a store, and Google reportedly paid ABK $300 million to stop development of that store. So that's probably still sitting around in the archives, and Microsoft could kick that back in at any time. I'm going to go to Bushido. I'm going to ask, why do you think Google and Nvidia has stepped in at this late stage, sort of the 12th hour, to try to stop this deal?
On Google's part, because I heard about the report with Google, but Nvidia, they don't necessarily oppose it. They just still want to have access to those games. So it's not really that for them. But Google, when I looked at some of the things that Google said, I was like, yeah, if you don't have any content or you're worried about not being able to have certain games for your service, isn't that more your fault than it would be Game Pass's fault than anything else? I didn't understand how you went in with that because I still don't see anything from you, but yet you're complaining about being taken out of the mobile or the cloud gaming space. I just thought that was ridiculous. Everything's always up to you if you want to be able to compete. No, nobody's stopping you. But Nvidia really just wanted to have access to those games.
Yeah, this is what doesn't make sense to me as well, Bushido. It looks like all these arguments are coming from a standpoint of how it's going to affect the company and not how it's actually going to affect the consumer, which is my big problem on how they're all written. Now, I don't think it was a big surprise that Google was arguing against what Microsoft is doing. Let's face it, those two companies absolutely hate each other's guts. Google feels like it got the upper hand, especially when it comes to both the search engine, Google, going up against Bing. I think Bing was a big disappointment for Microsoft, but the biggest disappointment is the Windows Phone going up against Android. Just got completely destroyed. This is an avenue into that mobile market. It's the reason why the acquisition is being done, in my opinion. And you're right, Nvidia just want open access to the games. They want to know that it's not only going to be on Game Pass, but if they want to put it on, GeForce Now, then they're going to be able to have access to it. So, look, I don't think Nvidia are really going to care as long as they get access to the games, but Google is the problem. They have lawyers, as big as Microsoft's are, and they can really cause an issue. And it is funny because they are the ones that actually have a monopoly in this industry. I really do think that. But
I mean, it's
what do you
kind
think,
of
Doom?
it's
What do you
kind
think,
of a
Umbra?
duopoly for that. It's kind of
Yeah.
duopoly for those two. Really, it is funny because we know that Google and Microsoft absolutely don't get along, but it's also funny because Microsoft defended Google in the case for them and Apple. So it's weird. It feels like a bit of a betrayal, doesn't it? But I mean, the thing is, they've long been standing as enemies. I guess as cordial enemies, if you will. But the whole thing is, it's like you said, Google stands for to I guess play spoiler for Microsoft in this case, but Nvidia is not really necessarily against it. They just want to have access to. But I think it's dumb for them to even stand up and say anything because Microsoft has been pretty clear cut in showing that
Yeah.
they want those games everywhere anyway. They don't want to take Call of Duty away from any other platform really. So
Well,
what's the
they still want
problem?
Diablo and the other games too. That's what it is. They
Yeah.
want the other plats. So I don't think that they would have a problem with those. I don't think they have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, Nvidia, like you pointed out, I mean, they just don't. They're kind of just voicing their thoughts, and but the problem is all three of those, Sony, Nvidia, and Google, is problematic for Microsoft. And that's something
Mhm.
the FTC can use as a little feather in their cap. That's the thing that annoys me. But like you said, Pete, it
Yeah.
has become about protecting market share and not about consumers, and that's the problem I have with it too. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't make any sense. I think I tend to think that this is Nvidia taking a jab as a response to Microsoft standing witness against them in their FTC case when they were trying to buy out. I forget the name of the company when they were trying to buy out another graphics card maker. So I think this might be a little bit of a spiteful response personally, but they can call Google and Nvidia to the stand, the FTC, to testify against the deal. So it's not a small thing. It is a bit of a problem. I personally am just sick of the back and forth, and I kind of want it to close either way, so we can kind of move on with instead of worrying about this stupid deal all the time. Mr. Bushido, what do you think? Do you think that this is Nvidia having a bit of a jab in response to their case? Do you think that this is a bit of a bad news thing for Xbox and the ABK deal?
I do think it is a little jab back. I really do. But I'm not sure. The reason why I'm gonna agree with it being a bad thing, the case just seems to be so flimsy anyway. and it pushed it forward with the worst evidence. And it just seemed like that just seems to be something now that they could add to that little bit that they have and say, well, wait, these other companies think the same thing. Well, they're other companies, they're competition. Obviously, they're going to say, no, we don't want them to acquire these studios. Of course, they're going to say the opposite of what's good for your business. So I just think that this is stupid. But if the government was operating the way it should, like everyone said, it would be looking out for the consumers. But since it's not, yeah, I think this could be problematic because they're looking for anyone to say anything just so they can get a W.
Yeah. Look at it. See, Steph in the chat says he thinks that this will be a 5-year lawsuit between Microsoft and FTC. Look, I don't think it's going to go that way, dude. I think they're both going to come to the table in the end, and there'll be concessions, is what I think will happen. When that happens, I don't know. Their case was pretty flimsy up until now, and I don't think Microsoft needed to offer any concessions. If you got Google and Nvidia stepping up against them, absolutely. Mark from Legendary Drops said, didn't Nvidia and Microsoft just agree to a partnership on an AI project? Yeah, they did, and I think that that's why they've been a little bit light on the attack when it comes to this ABK deal. They're not really pushing hard or trying to make Microsoft out to look like the evil tech company. I think it's just a little tiny jab to say, hey, we want what we want and make sure we get what we want. Cutie, what do you think's going on here? Do you think this is bad news for Microsoft? Do you think the deal is in jeopardy now because Google have stepped in and Nvidia has stepped in?
No, I think they just wanted to have their say, and I think that's fair enough. They have a huge stake in this, and they and I think you're all right in saying that they're not really. All these people aren't really thinking about gamers. They're thinking about their bottom line, their budgets, their money, profit. So, but in saying that, I don't think it will affect this deal. I don't think it'll extend it at all.
No, yeah. Look, I personally do think, and Dave, you make a great point, and that's something to remember, that Microsoft were pretty clear about if the and it's an if, Dave. It is an if. It's still not a guarantee. If the EC and the CMA approve the deal or have consent, they'll close that deal anyway, and then battle it out with the FTC, which I think shows you the resolve of Microsoft. So look, I think this deal closes eventually with concessions is what I think is going to happen. But we're not lawyers. Hopefully Hoag's Law is back soon and we could get a lawyer's perspective on it, and shout out to him, and I hope he starts to feel better soon. Apparently he is starting to feel a lot better, so that is absolutely fantastic. Look, there is one more topic. It's politically loaded, so it'll be extremely quick, but I did want to call it out because it's something that's I think is absolute bullshit. And shouldn't be happening in the community, and it bothers me. And we had Cassie Cage coming on, and she did do she could be with us here today. She did do a video on this, and I look, guys, head over to her channel and check it out. Now, Limited Run, this is a games a publisher that kind of brings out smaller indie titles, remakes, and little remasters of smaller games. Limited Run recently fired their community manager because of who she followed. Now, this is, like I said, it's extremely politically loaded, so we won't get too much into the politics of it, more of the thing that happened itself. Now, she followed someone who sort of held beliefs that a woman's bathroom is her own. I'm not going to make any claims as to what I believe or where I lay. What I do believe, though, is people are entitled to their opinion, and that's fine to have. And I think people should not be lose their job because they follow someone who has an opinion. Even though she did make a tweet back in 2016 outing her opinion, it's 2016. I think everyone on this panel and everyone on the chat has definitely changed since 2016. I know I personally have. Limited Run Games said they respect all personal opinions. However, we remain committed to supporting an inclusive culture. Upon investigating a situation, an employee was terminated. Our goal as a company is to continue to foster a positive, safe environment for everyone. That's bullshit. You literally said you respect all personal opinions and then sacked someone for their personal opinion. So what you're saying there is you don't respect all personal opinions. And it was really one account that is extremely questionable account that was calling her out. And I think this is just egregious. And this sort of shit needs to stop inside the industry. This is gaming. If people have political opinions, that's fine. If it's opinion, like keep it gaming. Like you're a gaming company, stick to gaming. We care about games and we care about our community and our employees. And sacking someone for who they follow is just absolute fucking egregious bullshit, and it shouldn't happen. Exactly, Charlie Hustle. How was the environment made unsafe? It wasn't. Look, I know that this is politically loaded, so I'll go to the panel and I'll open it up. Does anyone have anything they want to add to this topic?
I don't think I should touch this topic with a 10-foot pole, but that's just my truth. I don't know about your truth.
Look, I think.
Hey, I'll be right back, guys. I have a bad disturbance in the background. Sorry about that.
Cutie?
Oh, that's a nice way. That's a nice way to get out of that one.
Cutie?
I think look, when we put ourselves online, people are going to be able to see everything, and I think it's important that we try to promote positivity where we can, and not feed into spicy topics. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep, absolutely. Pete, you don't want to add anything?
Yeah, look, I really think I should stay away from this one, mate, to be honest. A person made a private tweet before she even worked with the company, and she lost her job and her livelihood because of it, because of a very, very... a person that they shouldn't have been listening to. I would have hoped that the company would have done their due diligence on the person that got this person fired. Unfortunately, they didn't. They listened to, a keyboard warrior who has very questionable motives and has had very questionable posts herself. Like I said, I don't want to go too far into it, but if you guys want to look into it further, I would recommend it. This is not what we want in gaming. We want it to be a very inclusive and welcoming place. We don't want people to be losing their jobs because of their point of view, especially if it's done on a private matter before they even worked at the company. And I think the post was like 6 years old. I think it was from 2016, like I said, before she even worked for the company. And if you have a look at the backlash from this, a lot of people have cancelled their orders from limited run games, which is, and look, I actually agree with that. If you don't agree with what a company has done, and and the firing of this person is something that I personally don't agree with, then speak with your wallet. It's the only thing that they listen to at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. We recommend that you do. Umbra, are you back? He is not back. Look, I'm going to leave that topic there. Do you have anything you want to add to this limited run topic?
So ask the question again for me, Risk, because I want to see how you put it in context.
Say your truth, Umbra.
A person was fired because of their personal beliefs from a tweet from 2016. And the tweet, I'll dance around it a little bit. The tweet was based around a woman's bathroom should be a safe place for women. And that's a touchy subject. It's a very touchy subject. And I'm not saying that any of us agree either way. My point more is she has a point of view. That's her point of view. I think she should be safe in expressing that point of view and not feel under threat of losing her job, whether I think it's right or wrong.
I guess it all depends, right? So, like, typically, and I say this about everybody when it comes to things socially, not everything is offensive to everybody, but there are some things that people find offensive more than everybody else, right? So somebody could say something racist that is aged, but I could still be offended by that. I could still be offended by that once I see it. You know what I mean? And I have the right to feel offended by that. I could see somebody, like, let's say, I don't know, I'll just throw out a random person. Jason Schreier could have said something that was racist. Not that he did, that he could have said something that was racist 10 years ago, and it resurfaces now. Do I not have the right to be offended by that? Sure, I do. And especially if I was under the pretense that this guy was not racist, that would pepper my, that peppered my my judgment of him differently back from that point to this point. So now I'm seeing him in a different lens. So that matters to a degree. It's all about how you view things, but I look at it like, yeah, it's problematic too because of the position that they're in. That job probably requires them not to have certain types of social media takes too that could have caused, an issue for them. So it's I guess it's nuanced. It's the best way I can put it. So it's hard to really say. It's not for me to say what's right and wrong on the whole bathroom situation or whatever, no matter how I might feel on it personally. But I'll just say, um, I can see how it's problematic for the company and how they wanted to get ahead of it. However, it is also a case where, yeah, that was so long ago, that person could have changed, their mindset could have changed. You know what I mean? So it's nuanced, and it's troubling for that reason, that they just said, hey, this came out 17 years ago and I'm going to punish you for it now. So I get
The
it both
problem I
ways.
the problem I have with it, Umbra, is it isn't transphobic. The tweet isn't transphobic, and I mean
Hmm.
that's the community it's pointed to. The exact tweet was, if you think that the number of trans crying about using a bathroom is higher than the pervs using the excuse, you're what's wrong with the world. So she's not having a go at trans people. She's just saying that there are sick people out there that are
Hmm.
using that bathroom excuse to take advantage of people. So she's not
Yeah.
actually having like. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that opinion.
No, I think you're right there, actually, now that I hear it.
Yeah.
I never actually heard it in context. So yeah, that makes sense. I agree with you there. But the world, we're sensitive, man, when it comes to that type of stuff. So people are really antsy when it comes to that. So it does feel especially shady for them to bring it up and say, "Oh, look what this person did. It was transphobic or whatever." And nobody wants to be mislabeled or thought of as something that they're not. I don't think that was transphobic personally,
No, and
but it's a
the
lot of
opinion
things
is
to be
relevant.
blamed.
The opinion's relevant, but
Mhm.
I don't want to get too much into the opinion because that's picking a side, and I definitely don't want to do that today. When it comes to the
Well,
opinion,
just
that's
stating how I feel on it. I can't
Mhm.
tell them how to feel, but they can't tell me how to feel either.
Uh-huh.
So just saying from what I'm hearing, it doesn't sound that way to me, but I'm not going to discount what they feel either. You know what I mean? It is what it is when it comes to that. Ultimately, I just don't agree. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's a negative. I'm definitely not that thing. So it's not me co-signing one thing or another. I just don't feel that doesn't sound like that to me. But again, sometimes we lack understanding in a lot of these things too. Maybe these people who do feel offended by that can say, hey, this is why it is this thing for me. So
Mhm.
sometimes we need to have an open ear to hear everybody out. But I do disagree with bringing things out from the past. I will say, to say, hey, let's get this person retroactively. It does become an issue after so long. And I mean, there's so many people that can happen to. I mean, we've seen so many actually that it has happened to, and it's come back to bite them. So I guess the smart thing is to kind of be like Hargeet and not have Twitter. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely, probably. And look, I'll just my last kind of thing on, and I'll go to Bushido if he wants to talk on the topic.
No, thank you.
No, he's good. He's good. Mark, Legendary Drops, he said, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. The internet does not give a free pass without consequences. An employer has a right to hire and fire anyone for any reason. You're right and you're wrong. The internet definitely doesn't give you a free pass, but the employer does not have the right to hire and fire you for any reason in Australia anyway. It's not for any reason. You have to have done something that warrants you being fired, stolen.
If I was the community manager, I would be suing that company big time.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be taking them for everything they're worth. So
I think she should.
yeah, absolutely. I definitely would. That's in Australia, that would be classed as unfair dismissal. And you would be able to take them for everything that they are worth. And they wouldn't have sacked you if you're in Australia. I think maybe things are different in America. But whether it's different law-wise, I don't think.
Good side for anything.
Yeah, I don't think they have the right. I don't think you have the right to fire someone for having an opinion. That's really not a terrible opinion. It wasn't terrible. I don't think it was a terrible thing to say.
It's like I said, I don't feel it was, but then we have other people who see it the other way. Like I said, I'm not going to dismiss them. I just don't see it the same way. But I'm open to hearing their take on why it is such a thing to them, right? So
yes, of course.
Yeah, that's and I think we're all there. You know what I mean? None of us are like saying like, nah, you're wrong, skip it, whatever. But I don't feel that from what I've heard. That's what it sounds like to me. But more understanding. Like I said, I'm open for that. I'm open for hearing other people's thoughts on that to better understand why they feel the way they feel, and maybe my mind will change on that. But as it stands, from what I've heard, it doesn't sound that way.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely my opinion. And not only that, if you look at the person that made the complaint, like I said, I can't go into it now, but if you look at the person that actually made the statement which got her fired, Purple Tinker, I think her name is, she's deleted her Twitter account. She has a very checkered, disgusting past. She's a sick, twisted, disgusting individual, and this is who they listen to.
Oh, well, this sounds like someone I might want to hang out with.
I see. I don't think you want to hang out with this
Next guest on the
person.
podcast.
Trust me, mate. It's not somebody you want anywhere around you or anywhere one around your kids.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what
I
mean?
think companies don't want to put their product at jeopardy. And but they are a small company, and I think they just want to align themselves with people that can stay out of that kind of thing.
I
and
think
help
that's
us out.
kind of what it is, and
Yeah.
that's why I said I believe it's just the social media thing. They don't want to have that on them to say this is that and bring this unnecessary blight to them. They just want to keep it PC.
And unfortunately, we live in a world where if you even play a game, sometimes people will take that as you supporting the views of the people who wrote the law for the game. So like it's getting a little bit nuts. I think I just wanted to point it out and highlight that companies don't need to do this. There's other routes to go. You can sit down and have a chat with and say, hey, it was from 2016. Where are you at now? Okay, cool. Let's keep this, in-house. If you wanna have opinions, let's from now on going forward keep them to ourselves. And I think a company is within their rights to do that, and that's fine. Sacking someone for that, I think, is wrong. I'm going to go to Mr. Bushido and force him to give us. No, only kidding. It's been an absolutely fantastic show. We're going to question real quickly, Mark. Is the topic or the fact that she was let go your issue? If it was, say, racist, would you agree with firing? From 2016, I
guess that depends how racist.
Yeah, and I would like to know.
Yeah, there's nuance to it.
Yeah, I would like to know what they said. I would also like to know what their views are now. There's a lot more nuance to that than just saying yes, I would or no, I wouldn't. If they were a persistent racist, absolutely sack them.
And I'll say it from the black perspective, if I will, just to say, and I speak for all black people. The thing is that like me, man, Mark, the way I can put it, man, if I see something like that, I'm a pretty pro-black kind of guy, and a lot of people get that misunderstood when you say you're pro-black. They think, oh, you're anti this. No, we're not. Pro-black means you're just proud of the adversities and things we've gone through. So I just want to get that clear before people try to misconstrue it. But that said, it depends on what was said. I can tolerate small bits of something that sounds wrong. I can't tolerate something that's gigantic and wrong, if that makes any sense to you. And like Riskit pointed out, and something that's persistent. If it's persistent and they haven't changed, get rid of them. I don't want this person to benefit off anything I'm paying for. Sure, but if it's something they said once and people are allowed to change, people are allowed to be better. It's okay to give them grace. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Have they changed is the question, or are they persistently making those types of posts? You know what I mean? That's the thing.
There's nuance to it, absolute nuance. And look, I don't want to stick on this topic any longer because it is extremely politically charged. And there's a lot that you can go into, and you guys can discuss this within parties. But I did want to make people aware of it, because if you feel like you need to go over the limited run and say, hey, I don't agree with this, or I do agree with this, now you're aware of it, and you can. It has been an amazing show today. We had some great conversations about some great topics, but we are going to finish up for the day. Mr. Bushido, you've as always, been an absolutely amazing guest, and we love having you on the show. Even though for some reason you thought you had been Xbox Infinite cancelled. I don't know how that happened.
I was still banned. But that's
shadow ban, huh?
Anytime they let Hargy overcome my record, that showed me that something was going on.
Well, look, if you just want to let the people know where they can find you, what you're up to, and the podcasts that you rock with, I will make sure That's those links are in the description, and you can find Mr. Bushido easily after the show.
Yeah, you can find me on Wednesdays on the Backlog Basterz at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And you can catch me on Thursdays on the KY Bobby Show, which is Game Set Live. That is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I thoroughly enjoy doing both of those shows. And I'm still waiting for them to make the replacement here so I can do this one too. But I'll wait until.
Wait a minute. What's the replacement? Who's the replacement?
What?
I think you should talk to Riskit about that. So anyway, but I always enjoy coming and discussing things with you guys. So
Absolutely, man. We loved having you. Every time you come on, we love having you. Be shadow banned for a further 3 months, and we'll get back to dude. It'll cost you at least 3 AAA games to get. No, I'm kidding. DoomCutie, welcome back to the show. You had another great show. And I've noticed that you've changed your branding a little bit. You've got a nice little different avatar up there. Let people know what you're up to, where they can find you, what you'll be doing in the next week or so.
Yeah, so it's not just my face up there anymore because I kind of felt weird being the only person who had their face there. So I've worked on this for 3 months now. Just trying to fine tune the details of my rebranding of all my stuff. So, yeah, it's a great show as always. Great topics this week. I think that's what happens when we have a good week of gaming news. It always makes the podcast go well, and the chat was on fire as always. And this week, you can find me everywhere. I've been trying to play different games, but I don't know. Real life has really been taking its toll on me recently. So yeah, I'm just trying to prepare myself to go back to work and spend time with my family and things like that. So but yeah, hit me up on Twitter. You can add me on Xbox. We can jam a Fortnite or Forza, whatever you'd like. And and thank you, Bushido, for coming up and having a chat with us.
Absolutely,
great.
Absolutely, it was an absolute fire show. What? It's a bit weird having 2 Umbras on the show. JediKnightPete, another fantastic show. Another fantastic show. Your Daddy Quezda has linked Spooky Sprocket Show in the chat. You guys can head there and jump in. Let everyone know where they can find you, what you'd be up to for the week, how your week's looking.
JediKnightPeter, Twitter, Xbox, pretty much everywhere. Awesome chat today. I know it got a little bit political there at the end, but hey, I think you guys in the chat handled it great. I think we were as kind as we could be. Doomy, Umbra, Bushido, Riskit. Always love chatting game with you guys. I mean, it's just like being in an Xbox party, but I don't get to play. But I will be jumping onto Fortnite because that's my jam at the moment. I'm so looking forward to Dead Space. They released a trailer yesterday. Goes for 1.5 minutes. Looks absolutely amazing.
So some new things. I was hyped. Oh yeah.
Yep, and I think Monster Hunter Rise drops this week in Gamepass for free. Yep. So check it out, download it, pre-download it, I think in 3 days, guys, and I'll see you there. Peace.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Dead Space looks absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to be playing that. Umbra, another amazing show. Thanks for coming through. Let everyone know where they can find you and what you'd be up to, and which one is best, Tim Tams or Penguins?
Well, after extensive testing, I have come to the conclusion that they largely taste exactly the same. I'm going to be honest. They do. And I'll say this, there are small differences. And what I came to feel like is that the Penguins had a smoother taste, but the Tim Tams had a more flavorful chocolate taste to it. Mm-hmm. Other than that, texture-wise and all that, very largely the same. Both taste great. They're both worthy of you all purchasing them. But I will say this, I thought the Tim Tams were better packaged and delivered as far as how they present it. But you can't go wrong if you try out either the Tim Tam or the Penguins, guys.
Yeah.
The Tim Tam.
You hear that? He said
the war's over.
He said the Penguins are shit and the Tim Tams are amazing.
See, he heard what he wanted to hear. No, but like they're largely both delicious. So you all can't go wrong with either one. Thus ends the Tim Tam Penguin War.
If you don't get the chocolate right, you know, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like it makes it full.
Exactly.
Yes. I
Exactly.
don't have any issues with it. I don't have any issues with it. But
The
guys.
Umbra voice. Okay, it's
Yeah,
popular.
they want. Go ahead, cutie. Try the Umbra voice again.
Yeah, you go ahead, cutie.
That was much better. That was much better.
That was actually pretty good. It's much better than Umbra's
Umbra-
Aussie voice.
Look,
Terrible.
Light. I don't appreciate you down.
I've been listening to Umbra talk for what? No, 8 months, 9 months now. I think it's in my head.
Yeah, I get in people's head like that, cutie. I understand.
Alrighty. Well,
All right, there go the octaves. Let's go.
Anyway.
Well, we'll end the show, but
oh no, I didn't sign off yet. Wait a minute. I just want to say. Now you got me laughing over here.
Oh, man.
No, much love to you guys too, Pete. It's like you said, it's like being in an Xbox party, except without gaming, but we're talking about it, and I love talking gaming. And I just want to thank everybody in the chat for coming through and supporting us and showing us love like you all always do. And of course, you can find me on Twitter, which Hargeet needs to sign up for so he can face a lot of scrutiny in the eyes of people for his takes. On Under Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite, you'll find me either way. Of course, you can find me here on typically Fridays at 7 o'clock Eastern, and on the Xbox Factory with Boom and Crew on Tuesdays at 12 Eastern. And again, everybody, thank you all for coming out to support us. Love you guys, and love my crew here.
absolutely. And chat, you guys have been amazing. Hargeet, one day we will get you on Twitter. Everyone else in the chat, you guys have been absolutely fire. I've loved the conversations that we had today. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter, warring with someone about something, probably just because I said Xbox exclusive. That seems to upset people. You can find me here on YouTube. You won't find me on Twitch very often. And that's pretty much the end of the show. We'll catch you guys next week at the same bat time, same bat channel. As the other time.
Well, it'll be different bat time and different bat channel.
Yeah, all right.
It'll be a day earlier.
That's right.
I still didn't get my question answered, but
you ain't getting
an
an answer.
next time.
Not happening.
Sure.
Not happening.
Hey, I had a request for the Kiwi voice.